Okay. Morning, everyone. I'm Jeanine Pirro, the U.S. Attorney in Washington. We're here today to target a growing epidemic, and that is crypto investment fraud scams perpetrated by organized Chinese crime syndicates. Okay.
Well, that got my
Morning,
attention,
everyone.
and no
I'm
doubt
Jeanine
that
Pirro,
got
the U.S.
your
Attorney
attention
in
as well.
Washington.
But tonight, or today, or this morning, I'm Danny the Heck, and we're going to talk about something big. Now, I'm trying not to be skeptical, and I've got my skeptical hat on here, but this got my attention when I got out of bed this morning. Now, I've spent the last couple of hours getting myself ready. I've produced a blog. My Signal, my WhatsApp, I don't really hang out on Telegram, has been going crazy with my Avengers. Is this a good thing? It can't be anything but a good thing. When they did this announcement, which we're going to go through, they said that they want to work on organised crime that goes back to other countries. But I reckon the problem's within America. And I think there's some fundamental flaws that could be nipped in the butt really quickly. Now, I've done myself an introduction here, and I'm going to read it because there's some main points I don't want people to miss. So the US government have launched what they call a scam center strike force. I even know a company that has been talking to me lately who has the name Strike Force in their name, and that name sounds brilliant. And long story short, I used to own a company called the New Zealand Information Centre. So the word centre even strikes me. And the word scam, well, look at this, ladies and gentlemen. I even have a T-shirt with no scam on it. Bright orange. It's part of my trademark. So certainly got my attention today. They say it's a plan to fight what I've been fighting for 5 years, the scamdemic. Now, anybody that's been watching my YouTube channel will know that I use the word scamdemic. Got it off the back of, obviously, the pandemic that we had with COVID-19. But scamdemic, it's definitely out there, definitely a big problem. I wouldn't spend 80 hours a week doing so. Now, if you're first time here and you're just watching me, please do make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. I don't make money from my YouTube channel like you might think, and I do rely on donations via my website, or even join my YouTube channel, or just subscribe would really, really help. So I've been reading my new blog about this story. And so in this video, we're going to be reading my new blog about this story, and also we're going to be watching the official video of the press get together on the event. I want you to see what they said and decide if it really means change. But here's what worries me, and this is why I use ChatGPT. I fight scams on the ground. I say to people, I'm a foot soldier. My Avengers and I, we go places where a lot of law enforcement can't go, simply because they don't have the budget, the time, or maybe the legal way of saying that would be they can't go in the trenches like we do because of, what we need to do. Now, I'm not saying we're doing things illegally, but we are using the basics. The alarming thing about this is, look, I'll just read it. Big companies like YouTube, Zoom, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. There lies a massive problem right there. These companies are selling adverts, letting people create adverts to promote the same scams that the US says they need to go offshore to fight. I could give you 200 links right now of Zoom meetings where people are promoting multi-level marketing. Probably at a guess, 60% of the people in those Zoom meetings are Americans who are actively promoting these Ponzi schemes and scams that America is claiming that they're going to stop coming into their shores. Well, I don't want to rain on your parade, but they're already in America. I'll use my other thing. For 12 months, I've been investigating the Pakistani software houses. These are companies that had raids in Pakistan, and they shut down these companies. They shut down these companies, and then what did they do? They went to 6 different continents, And was there 5? I don't know. Anyway, they went to mainly Texas in America, and they set up shop. They went to Pakistani people in America for other Pakistanis back home and said, oh, can we use your name to set up a company here in America? And we're going to carry on promoting our book promotion services. This morning, I got a phone call from someone claiming that I had a guy, Adam, who had been contacting them, claiming he was working for me, warning them that the opportunity that they were about to sign up for was a scam. And they rang me up to say, you have a guy called Adam working for you. And I'm going, no, I don't, but I have a team of Avengers that help me fight scams. That person's intention was for you to contact me. They were about to part with their money to get their book distributed in a whole lot of places throughout America and wherever, bookshops all over the place. And it was a fraud. This scam isn't Pakistani. This is Pakistanis who have gone into America and set up shop using American companies to do so. And it's not just America. They're in Australia, Canada, and even New Zealand. And I've got 1,000 website addresses. Some of them are .coms that are still operational today. Now, why aren't these .com domain names shut down like that? There lies your problem. So when I see YouTube, like I've got in this blog, I've got about 30 YouTubers I scrambled together who are in America promoting these Ponzi schemes that the American people have set up a government agency to stop. What the heck? So YouTube has the problem. Now, I love YouTube. Hi, YouTube. But why are YouTubers allowed to set up YouTube channels promoting these schemes? Why would you need to even go offshore? Why don't you go to YouTube and say you're not allowed to allow people to promote Ponzi schemes, or you're not allowed to promote companies if you're not a regulated financial advisor? Zoom, don't get me started. 200 Zoom links I can give anybody from any government agency or any journalist right now. And I've given these links to journalists in the past. And I've said, here's a list of 200 Zoom meetings, which just about on a daily, maybe a weekly basis, go on there and promote these scams. And what happens? Zoom shut down my account, saying that they are going to ignore their own policies that state quite clearly, Section 8, that people are not allowed to use their services to promote multi-level marketing. Facebook. Oh, goody. Facebook has has put their hand up and said that they want to be part of this task force. How many times have you been on Facebook and seen an advert where you can click on it and potentially get a job? Get a job doing reviews in hotels, or buy some product that you don't need. They are advertising these scams. Why? How can Facebook come along here and say they want to be part of a task force fighting scams when they are facilitating scams? Instagram, well, it's the sister of Facebook, isn't it? How many Instagrams? So I had a reporter ring me from ABC News yesterday, and I said, oh, are you reporting the news at the bottom of the cliff? I said. He goes, oh, what do you mean? I said, oh, you want me to hand you a person that's scamming, and you want me to hand you a victim who's willing to talk, and then you're going to do a story about it. Well, I said, why don't you change the type of reporting that you do and actually maybe give me some press? Why don't you highlight what I'm doing? Because I'm the guy in the trenches fighting these scammers. I've got 5 court cases going at the moment where these scammers have more money than I do, and they fire court cases. Just before I went live, I've just got an update from the state of Florida, who's entertaining the idea of letting some guy that's closed his company down in Florida, Chris Diego, shut his company down in Florida, reopened it in Wyoming, and he now is trying to sue me. He's already offered me $150,000 to shut up. And an American court system is letting someone intimidate me and anybody that wants to whistleblow. And I've filed a motion to dismiss, which I still haven't heard anything back from. Why are these companies allowed to act in such a manner when it's obvious there's no such thing as 60% return on your investment per year? And that's what they've been offering. And we're estimating a $300 to $500 million scam. And they claim that they've given out $100 million worth of dividends in 2024 to prestigious, clever people, surgeons. We've got 16 surgeons that have invested in this scam because it was too good to be true. And they shut their company down on the 3rd of September, as I said, and they reopened it in Wyoming on the 3rd of September because Wyoming has slacker laws. It just goes crazy. TikTok, well, I've lost my Zoom account. I've lost my Facebook account. I've lost my Instagram account. I've lost my TikTok account. And I've lost my Reddit account because the scammers keep reporting me for being a scammer. And here I am trying to preach the truth. So don't get me started. Well, maybe you have. So these are the companies that make millions from ads that help scammers find victims. They advertise these scams, the Pakistani software houses. We've got receipts of millions and millions of dollars that Google has been taking for AdWords to promote their websites. I could give you 1,000 website addresses of sites that are still advertising that they are offering services to Americans, Australians, anybody you like, about being able to ghostwrite people's books. And that's what we've been going after. Now, I'm not picking on the Pakistanis. I'm actually trying to help them because the Pakistani people that are running these scams are employing Pakistanis, promising them amazing wages, and then you telling them they haven't reached their sales quota and holding back their wages. If you go to my LinkedIn, you will see it's rampant. I have got hundreds and hundreds of correspondence from people whose wages are held. This is a common practice. There's a formula to all these scams. Now, I got accused of buying fake traffic for my LinkedIn because my LinkedIn is going off. 1 million people have viewed my content within a month when we started talking about the Pakistani software houses. It just goes crazy. So maybe they want to look like heroes, but they still allow the problem to grow every single day. What about people like us, the ones that are really doing the work? So it's all very well to reach out to the companies and the people. What about the small people who I have a database of over 650, maybe 700 people that are actively promoting these Ponzi schemes? Why doesn't the police do a simple knock, knock, knock on people's doors like Mars Honda Henderson, who's just a victim, who hasn't thought the system that she was promoting to her community was real? Or Quentin Bradford, a YouTuber that's promoted over 32 fallen Ponzi schemes and scams. What about the House of Gerald? I think his name's Gerald Scott. I've got his name written in the blog. He's been promoting over, get this, 200 Ponzi schemes and scams that have fallen over. He's an American. I think he's American. Could be Canadian. Pretty sure he's American. And he's been promoting these Ponzi schemes and scams. Why hasn't he got a knock on the door telling him to pull his head in before he gets locked up? Why is he allowed to promote this stuff on YouTube? Don't get me started. So we've been collecting proof, tracking wallets, and exposing Ponzi schemes for years. So I'm hoping, I've already reached out to the men in black, as I normally call them, and asked them, how do we get involved in this new government initiative? So how did we get involved? The last time I spoke to US agents, it was actually in a Microsoft Teams meeting. They told me they were shocked on how much evidence and how much we had gathered on Goliath Ventures. We gave them access to over 100 people that were involved in Goliath Ventures Inc. All of these people, majority of these people, fewer Canadians, g'day Jay Newton, were in America. So here's a scam that takes 2 years before the government actually can do something and stop it and throw a spanner in the works. 2 years it takes a government department to actually get somebody in the courtroom. Now, we have been told by numerous people that our intel has sped up that investigation. We believe that within weeks, a guy by the name of Christopher Diago will be locked up and in handcuffs. And so will all his associates. And I will name them: Matt Burke, Pierce Curry, Alex, I've forgotten your last name, lucky you, Tomo. Tomo just took a first-class flight over to New Zealand. He's already threatened to kill me or cause me grievous bodily harm. That was his threat on his Instagram. So when he come to New Zealand, I thought, oh, he's just doing this $22,000 flight over to New Zealand to see some software company. So I read, not software, soft drink company. And I reach out to that company, tell the guy that, be careful with the guy that he's dealing with, because he's dangerous. He was just on a cruise ship with Andrew Tate, the Tate brothers, you know them? And here he is shaking hands with Eric Trump, Donald Trump. Kash Patel, the Speaker of the House, Chris Diego, they're all mingling with these government departments. In the meantime, running a massive Ponzi scheme out of Florida. It's unreal. So is the problem really overseas, or is it right here? I say here, I'm in New Zealand, here in America. Let's not forget about Wyoming. Wyoming is a state that makes it easy to register companies. Every time I'm investigating a scam and I realize that it's in the state of Wyoming, we laugh. Because why are the laws in Wyoming allowed to exist? We've got companies that have been struck off the state of Wyoming because they provided illegal information, fraudulent documents, didn't have public identifiers on their websites. We had literally shut down their websites and they got struck off. 3 months later, that same company, same name, got to list again on the state of Wyoming. Exactly the same name. They used the same register, same everything. And if you do a search for Affiliate Marketing 3.0 LLC, you'll see that company's been struck off and now it's been re-enabled. What the hell? Why does that? What planet are we on? Are we on planet Earth? How does that exist? Go to Wyoming and have a look at all the shell companies that are set up. Some people, they don't even have a proper name on the companies that register them. One lady, I've forgotten her name, it's literally registered 70,000 companies under her name, and no one knows whether she's a real individual. It's just a fake name. It's just how stupid it is. So shell companies used to run scams that lead back to human trafficking compounds in Southeast Asia. Now, I went to I always get the name wrong. It's called the Global Financial Crime Summit in Sydney. And I met Erin West. Now, she's a big advocate about human trafficking compounds. And we learned a lot about human trafficking, money laundering, and how it works. So we watched $22 million get laundered into crypto. They watched the crypto sit there. No one was doing anything with it. They believe that that money could be used for wars or terrorist events. Who knows? But there's a lot of criminal activities around crypto. Crypto, I have to say this, I'm not really a big fan of crypto. I've got nothing really against crypto. The New York Times gave me the name, the Crypto Ponzi Scheme Avenger. Doesn't mean I don't like crypto. It means that crypto makes it easy for criminals not to be traced. And that's what it's all about. Crypto is great, but investment platforms are not great. And I've never found one that I would recommend. And not that I'm into recommending financial investment opportunities to anybody. They don't exist. They use similar traits to cults that tell people that everything's in the future, but the future never gets there. So when I went to that conference, I met a guy that worked for the United Nations. And I said, oh, have you seen that PDF that such and such had put together? And he goes, no. And I go, I won't say her name. And I said, oh, they gave it to me because through my connections with Hyperverse, Ryan Zhu, they said that one of his associates has been deemed running one of these human trafficking compounds. So they gave me a copy of this PDF that was going to be presented to the United Nations to show the scale of the human trafficking compounds. She gave me access to a Google Dropbox. Every time I go through it, I see something I can't get out of my head. I was looking at a building thinking, oh, this must be where they house people in human trafficking compounds. 10-story building, somebody jumped off the roof right in front of me and landed on the ground and bounced as they landed on the ground. I've got photos of people being buried alive. I've got images of people being tasered, chained, beaten, just the most heinous acts you can think happen to individuals. And I'm thinking, what planet are we on that allow these activities to happen? So this person that I met face to face got up on the stage. Just before he got up on the stage, we realized that the PDF that he was doing the presentation on was the same PDF I was talking about. I just got my names wrong. Long story short, we found out there were 6 or 7 of these major human trafficking compounds. Now, because one of these human trafficking compounds grabbed somebody from China and put them in it, the Chinese were giving Thailand a lot of pressure to not power the Myanmar human trafficking compound. So there was an article about 3 or 4 months ago where Thailand had cut the power off to Myanmar. And just recently, I haven't been following the story, but Erin West is a hero. And she was showing that people were leaving KK Park, which was one of the main parks that she's been visiting and documenting and the like. So things are happening there. Maybe it's time. Maybe this is a shift. Maybe this is an opportunity for the world to wake up and get up to speed. So I want you to ask yourself, are you really going to work with us? I've reached out to a couple of the agents I know, and I've said, I want to be involved in this, but are you really going to work with us? I mean, what's the point of going to Meta and working with them when I believe they are part of the problem? When a company, states they're making millions of dollars from advertising. I mean, everything at the moment, the prices are going up. The world is becoming a harder place to be entrepreneurial in. People are getting desperate. A lot of people said to me, people are greedy who get involved in these investment scams. And I said, no, it's out of desperation. These people can't find a way to be entrepreneurial, make money, and make a good living for themselves. They're literally using the assets maybe from somebody who died, and they get their estate. This is where the money comes from. There must be a list of all the people that die, and then they go through all the scammers attack the families. I've seen one lady, I won't mention her name, 127. No, she lost $200,000. Initially, she told us she lost $25,000. After a bit of investigation and a few videos later, we found out that she'd put in over $200,000. That money had come from her mother's estate, and then they'd gone after her. And they said to her she can go do some trading. So she thought she'd invest her mother's money into her future, and then they chipped away. They keep skinning the bone. They call it pig butchering. They fatten the pig. They build a relationship up with these people. They befriend them. They're lonely people. They suck in this friendship. They confide with them, something private. These are all coming out of the human trafficking compounds. And these people fall for it because they're lonely. They're not desperate. They're not greedy people. And then they lose all their money. Then they double down. One scam that I did a video on just 5 videos ago was we called it a pig butchering romance scam because they befriended him. He mortgaged his house up to the hills, Australian guy. And then when he realized he had nothing left, they said if he wants to withdraw his money, he had to pay another $50,000 to open up a larger account where he could withdraw his money that he'd put in. And it just goes on and on. They pig butcher people. They they take every bit of meat off the bone. Alrighty, well, that's sort of my introduction there. Hopefully that sort of got home. I don't know whether to go through the blog or the video first, but I think I can't help myself. There I am talking to myself. So I think I actually need to go through the blog first before we look at the video. Now, I don't know. Do I need to give a disclaimer here? When I see this is like the biggest thing. This is the biggest thing ever, having an organization claiming they're going to do what I want to do. I want to work with you guys. I want to use my intel. I'm the one that gets the lawsuits. I'm the one that gets threatened. I'm the one that I'm growing a beard at the moment, if you're wondering why I haven't shaved, because I'm going to try to hide my identity. Maybe I need to take my glasses off. Is that better? Can you recognize me? I don't know, but I'm the one that's in danger here. Right, so let's get into this. Let's have a read.
For more than 5 years, I've been fighting an uphill battle against crypto and investment fraud, exposing Ponzi schemes, tracing money trails, and naming the people behind them. I've called this global phenomenon exactly what it is: a scamdemic.
It is a scamdemic. I love that word. I hope I've spelt that right. It doesn't look like. I think it is. It just looks bigger when it's not all caps. But I have a folder on my email, and anytime anyone emails me anything about a scam, I put it into the folder called Scamdemic. And then I create subfolders for the people's names that I correspond with regularly. I have another folder called Avengers, and in there I correspond with my Avengers. So it's kind of like I've got a victim database here, which is probably 150, 200 people. And over here I've got my Avengers, which is probably about, I don't know, maybe 50 people that have helped me with intel in the past, otherwise known as whistleblowers. And I did a really good blog. Look, I want to read the statement that was on, if you go to, that's the poll, make sure you do the poll. If you go to the official announcement from the United States Attorney's Office, you can see there was a quote. And what I'll do, I'll actually read it from here. It will give us more clout. And this is what they claim they've actually set up this task force for. And this is awesome if it's really going to happen. I'm a bit skeptical.
Scam centers are creating a generational wealth transfer from Main Street America into the pockets of Chinese organized crime. As the prosecuting office in the nation's capital, my office has the authority to charge foreign defendants and seize foreign property, said U.S. Attorney Pirro. President Trump wants the United States to be the global center of the world's cryptocurrency industry. So it is absolutely crucial that Americans understand the safe use of this commodity. We will expose and prosecute the criminals who would abuse their trust so that all Americans can feel secure in their investments. U.S. Attorney Pirro specifically called on U.S. corporations to partner in the initiative. Working together in public-private partnership, we must secure the U.S. infrastructure, which is being used as an instrument to defraud Americans in these scams.
Look, I just, I listen to that and I think, unfortunately, guys, the problem's within your own country at the moment. And I think, if you're getting into fitness, you work your abs because that's where, if you just work your abs, the rest of the body will get stronger. And the ab that seems to be the bane for a lot of these crimes is, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Zoom, TikTok. These are programs that you either need to, get under control. The individuals, I could give you 200 individuals in America right now that are promoting these scams that you're trying to stop. Doing the same old thing, expecting different results comes to mind. I mean, you have to take if I'm in a Microsoft Zoom meeting with I think it's the biggest US government agency that fights crime. And they are telling me they are they actually told me they were overwhelmed. They were amazed with the intel that we had done. And they said they simply don't have the resources. These are, district attorneys that were talking to me. So if the district attorney is telling us that they don't have the resources, hopefully this new organization has the money. If you're truly losing billions of dollars, then put a few $1 billion into this organization. Work with organizations like us. Don't say that you're going to, I should already know about this organization, I believe.
Now, in a twist of irony, the US Department of Justice has adopted the same term. During the launch of their new Scam Center strike force, US Attorney Jeanine Pirro stood at a podium and declared, "This scamdemic is a generational wealth transfer from Main Street, USA, into the hands of Chinese organized crime."
Look, I know they want to blame the Chinese for everything, and I've been to China, but don't tell anyone. But I went there because I wanted to see about TV remotes, and I do drop shipping. However, it's all very well. It is Chinese organized crime, but it has been ran out of Myanmar and Thailand, and Thailand got a lot of pressure from China recently to clean up the human trafficking compounds, which is fantastic. So let's carry on because I've put a lot of thought into this blog. I have produced this blog relatively quickly, so that's often a bit of a concern for me when I'm putting people out. But I've read through this blog, and I believe everything in here is truthful and factual to as much as my ability, except for me being able to highlight paragraphs. I'm going to read the whole paragraph at once because I don't want to be here all day. I'm trying to get my long form content down to normal form. So let's have a listen to this paragraph.
But let's not overlook the role that America itself plays in enabling this global scamdemic. States like Wyoming have become safe havens for scammers, offering fast-track company registration with minimal scrutiny. Thousands of fraudulent crypto ventures, shell entities, and unregulated financial businesses have been incorporated there, giving international scam operations a veneer of legitimacy under US law. These registrations are then used to lure victims, open bank accounts, and bypass due diligence that would normally expose their crimes. Until the US cracks down on these domestic loopholes, the same system that claims to be fighting fraud will continue to quietly facilitate it.
Yeah, now I'm just going to, while I did this, I couldn't help myself, but this is the state of Wyoming, right? So here's a company here called Affiliate Marketing 3.0 DAO, and if you can see it's been archived, and when it's archived, this entity has come to the end of its life cycle and can no longer reinstate. So this company, the person that promotes this company on Zoom just about on a daily basis, if not every single day of her life, is Grace Zumba. Grace Zumba is a judge that's been publicly reprimanded for her behavior as a federal judge. She lives in America. Why the hell is Grace Zumba allowed to be on a Zoom meeting promoting a Ponzi scheme and scam that have origins that we know go back to China? Sam Lee, Australian, being charged by America for his connection to a $1.9 billion scam called Hyperverse. Ryan Zhu, Chinese citizen, disappeared. No one knows where he is. He's probably hanging out with the queen of crypto from OneCoin, which I get accused of promoting, which I have nothing to do with. It's just crazy. So she's on there, a federal judge, still a judge today, but she's been publicly reprimanded, and I think her behavior got excused a wee while ago on what they accused her on because of the legal system's crap. And now that same company that's been struck off the state of Wyoming 3 months later, I should say, is now exactly the same name, and it is an active company. And if you go down here and you do your own due diligence, you can read the history. You can see the administrative action that happened with this company. And I don't know if I can open it up without being too stupid. Let's have a look. And it says here, I can, that this company provided fraudulent information, didn't have a public identifier, and has been struck off because it didn't respond within 60 days. This particular company is providing financial services to Americans, being promoted by Americans, and they're registered in the state of Wyoming. Are you telling me that this new government agency doesn't have the power to scrutinize the companies that are set up in Wyoming? My blood is boiling. I cannot believe this. Your problem isn't just in Chinese ran businesses, it's within your own communities. And I want to help you guys, show you where the real criminals are.
I should probably be flattered. For years I've used that same word to describe what's happening. And now, the world's most powerful Justice Department is using it too. But I'm also cautious, because after half a decade of working on the front lines, documenting victims, and tracing stolen funds, this is the first time I've even heard of this so-called strike force. If they've really been active, why haven't they reached out to those of us who've been doing this work all along?
Yeah. Now, this morning I got a phone call at, I think it was 8 o'clock, and from a lady who was trying to find out information about her mum, and she would say they've been pitched. I've got all the screenshots coming through. Thank you very much. It's absolutely awesome. And the number was what looks like an American number who claimed that they were working for me. And they said, do you have a guy by the name of Adam working for you? And I said, no. And they went, ooh. And I went, no, it's good. Adam's done a good job. Adam doesn't work for me, but I have a team of Avengers who know that you could be speaking, you need to speak to me, because this is 100% a scam, what you've been pitched by this person. The lady had discovered something that was too good to be true, and her book was going to be distributed by this company. And here is somebody who's impersonated somebody who works for me as an Avenger, I assume. I haven't looked into it all yet, but I can tell that this is where we make a difference. You can work for me, and you can be one of my Avengers if you want to fight crime. Just don't break the law. We don't need to break the law. We just need to wake people up out of this trance where they think something is too good to be true. So who's the real culprits here is the next paragraph, because I seem to think that money and common sense is getting in the way of making a good decision. I can tell you now, and I can prove you that every single one of these names in here are facilitating the crime of letting people promote these scams wherever they originate from.
For this strike force to have any real impact, it also needs to go after the platforms that make this scamdemic possible. Zoom, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube continue to provide megaphones for scammers and Ponzi promoters to recruit victims in plain sight. These companies profit from the traffic and advertising while ignoring the destruction left behind.
Now, the only platform I still have is YouTube. All the others I've lost, but Reddit comes to mind as well. Now, Reddit's quite good if you want to find out information. You just need to search, for example, let's use Goliath Ventures Inc. You go in there and search for Goliath Ventures Inc. and you'll find articles and questions from people who want to know whether it's a scam or not. I go in there as one of the biggest scam fighters in Australasia, and I start saying, yes, it is a scam. Here's a blog that promotes it. Do you know what happens? I lose my account. The scammers, report my account because they don't want to hear from me. No, don't want to hear from Danny. He hasn't spent the last 80 hours a week for the last whatever going after scammers for no reason. His voice doesn't count, but people can block me, report me, and the scammers have the same power to remove my accounts as good people. And it just becomes a battle. That's why my foundation for what I do is my website, which is now protected by Google Project Shield. Thanks, guys. And now I've heard this idiot out there, let's call him John Citizen, who we've had his Proton Mail account shut down. He is now writing to Google Project Shield, claiming that I'm not a real journalist. And he's trying to get them to not protect my website. Now, when you have a WordPress website, people can send enormous requests to that website. For 2 months solid, I would get in a denial server attack, I believe, from Goliath Ventures Inc., my opinion, and other people perhaps. I've had them in the past. And that means my website can't be live, my message can't get out there. So when a scammer who claimed that I had cost him $300,000 US in losses and also given him a stroke, yes, a stroke, wrote fraudulent information to my hosting provider with documents that were produced on ChatGPT, my hosting provider went, oh my God, he's got a lawsuit going. And they didn't even know how to identify fraudulent documents from, now, WP Engine, you're crap. Now, they gave me my marching orders and gave me 30 days to move all my websites away onto a new platform because they didn't want anything to do with the court case, even though the documents were forged and they still had the brackets, insert date here. They had emojis in the court documents. And that company said they don't want me as a client anymore. So then I reached out to Google Project Shield and said, hey, look, I'm a journalist. And that's why I've stepped away from the Crypto Ponzi Scheme Avenger, the title that the New York Times gave me. And now I'm called Danny the Heck Investigations, which I think has got a nice ring to it. And that's what we're doing here. And I'm a journalist. Anyone can be a journalist. You don't have to have a ABC News behind you or a Channel 9 News or CNN News behind you. You can be an independent journalist. I'm proud of that. So somebody now is reaching out to Google Project Shield and writing a complaint saying that Danny's not a journalist and you shouldn't protect his website because they don't want my content online. If the Department of Judgment is serious, I could hand them a list of YouTubers and online promoters that actively publish fraudulent investment opportunities that trace directly back to Southeast Asia scam compounds. Now, individuals like Christopher Diego, you probably think, oh, well, I've invested from Florida. His scam goes back to Dubai. And the two people that started a mirror-like scam was actually called My Liquidity Partners. And if you follow the origins of that scam, who knows where it leads back to. This guy lives in Florida, and he has he's the guy that's actively coming after me at the moment. Quentin Bradford. On his YouTube channel right now, you can go there and look at 32 scams that have fallen over that he's been promoted. Mars Honda Henderson. I know where she lives in California. She's telling me that she's a victim because all the scams that she's been promoting, she genuinely thought were real. And when they fell over, she was like everyone else. She was in the same boat. She was on the Titanic when it was sinking and stayed on the boat telling everyone everything's fine and then jumped off in the last minute. And now she's in the lifeboat with everyone else going, oh, I'm so sorry I introduced you to the Titanic. I didn't know it was fraudulent. Then she deletes all the videos off her YouTube channel and fires up on the next scam that starts out, probably ran by the same people. People have reached out to me in the past asking me if I want to promote their scam to my community as a top-level promoter. That's how this lady gets her money. She claims she's still promoting EU1 Life. I think I got that right this time. Normally I go E1U Life, but it's EU1 Life. Now, if you go and look at Jason, what's his name? Pocket Watching with Jason Thornburg. I'm saying his name wrong, but Pocket Watching with JT. He did a whole documentary using my video as a basis and exposed that organization as a scam, and he showed that the people that were behind it and promoting it had already been in the courts. So why is Mars Honda Henderson allowed to fire up and promote these Ponzi schemes and scams? So I've got a list of them here, like Anthony, Megan Lynch, Regan Lynch, Stephen McCullough, a guy that tried to sue me in the New Zealand High Court for $3.85 million, is still promoting a scam called Grapes at the moment. He hasn't even got a secure certificate set up on his website. Scott Morris, Gary Wood. Now, Gary Wood, I just did we had Ponzi Patrol. He had a deposition date in court, and we just did a video about that recently. And Gary Wood has been promoting a Ponzi scheme called Smart Lab. International. We had my Avengers, the Terminator, come and took down scam, smartlab.international's domain name. We took the domain name down. Why didn't the government take down that domain name? Why do we have to go through all these ISPs and go to the hosting providers and say, look, this guy's running a scam, and then somebody who sits behind it, has control, makes a decision whether they believe Danny DeHeck and the Avengers, or they have to wait for a government agency to come along and shut down a website. People are acting because they can see the evidence is so clear. You know, David Chandler, Troy, Marcus Davis. I was in a Zoom meeting with Marcus Davis the other day, and he didn't want to talk to me, but he's still out there promoting passive income opportunities. Troy, well, he won't get out of bed, his words, unless it makes him $100,000 a month. David Chandler, well, he was promoting trades technologies with Marshonda Henderson. May Somerville, oh my God, she's a victim. She's even set up a YouTube channel to defame me. Grace Lumber, as I've mentioned. Tammy Jackson, well, she was a heavy promoter of Hyperverse. Yeah, a $1.9 billion scam. And $640 million was promoted by a lady called Brenda Chunga. She came in as a witness and provided intel to, I think, to the IRS. They let her out. She helped rebuild the community around Sam Lee and then they got the crypto recovery companies. It just goes on and on and on. But I don't want to miss this paragraph, so I'm going to read this paragraph. I've given you my appraisal, but listen to these names. And this is not even a complete list. This is people I scrambled. I was sitting here in my undies writing this blog. And I wrote this blog in a couple of hours, put it together, and then distributed it on all my blog platforms, and then rushed and had a shower, got dressed, thank God for that. And now here I am now. And this one, I think this is one of the most important videos that I've been doing lately.
If the Department of Justice is serious, I could hand them a list today of YouTubers and online promoters actively pushing fraud.
That didn't work. It stopped, didn't it? Actively permission fraud. Right. Okay. Why did that stop? Anyway, a list of YouTubers actively promoting fraudulent. There we go. Let's just try that again. Excuse me.
Fraudulent investment opportunities that trace directly back to Southeast Asian scam compounds. Individuals such as Christopher Chris Delgado, aka Lord Delgado, Quentin Bradford, Marshonda Henderson, Jamie Soriano, Anthony D. Loach, Megan Lynch, Reagan Lynch, Stephen Mikola, Scott Morris, Gary Wood, David Chandler, Troy Ridgedar, Marcus Davis, Mike Lucas, Mike Donaldson, Harvey Joseph Doc Stater Jr., May Somerville, Grace Uzomba, Tammy Jackson, and Gerald Smith are all part of that problem.
Gerald Smith, 200 Ponzi schemes and scams he's promoted. So there you go. You've got it here. There's something to start off. I'd clean up, and I would, how do they say, don't shit in your own woods? Clean up the shit in your own woods first, I believe. And if you want a hand, we have all their details in my database, and it's open. We've already got we've actually got 7 different government agencies from 6 different countries who have access to my data at the moment. So these people are publicly marketing unregistered investment schemes to Americans while posing as mentors for as mentors or financial educators. They should be questioned and held accountable. I mean, even if you knocked on their doors and said, we're investigating, you should slow and calm down the amount of scams that they are promoting. You want to come up here, Pix? Come on. Pix wants to sit on my knee. And if they continue promoting these scams without licensed they're not licensed financial advisors. They must face the consequences. I mean, why don't we do an investigation on what actually happens when somebody gets arrested and what actually happens to them? Bitcoin Rodney, only guy that's been incarcerated. They didn't put him in incarceration for promoting unregistered crypto investments. No, they did him for drug trafficking because that was the easiest thing to do. A lot of the time, if you commit a financial fraud, the maximum penalty is 5 years. So I know that Brenda Chunga literally has scoffed away a whole lot of money. Somebody who was closely involved with the family knew that she was setting up Gmail accounts, hiding the money that she had stolen. She brought in $640 million from Americans to Hyperverse, and the rate that the commission that you get is 20% on the first level. And then it goes, I think 15, then 30, then 5, and then 2, and then 1. It had 20 levels of commission structure. So she was at the top of the funnel and all the money was coming in. When she was questioned, she claimed that she'd only ever made $1 million from Hyperverse and she knew she had to give it back. That's bullshit. Absolute bullshit. If I know it's bullshit, then why doesn't the government know it's bullshit? But she's still out. She's had 2 weddings, one in her husband's country and one in America, because she's married. So she can still travel. And she was on video after video after video promoting Hyperverse with Bitcoin Rodney. Now, Bitcoin Rodney, I should get that right. Bitcoin Rodney wasn't on many videos. It was hard to find. The IRS and I sat down in nice Microsoft Zoom meetings and I showed them the videos that we had on him promoting and talking about Hyperverse because I didn't have any evidence. Well, I have a ton of evidence here. If I was brought in to this government agent and we had a board meeting together, you would not believe what intel I have on people who are promoting these investment schemes. Stop looking at China for a start. Focus in your own woods. Come and reach out to Danny DeHeck and I will happily give you the intel. I will give you the leads that I have on individuals who are in America right now doing this. Government. I'm really on my high horse today, aren't I? All right, here we go.
A government finally catching up. Pirro described what many of us have been warning about for years. Massive scam compounds across Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, and the Philippines are defrauding victims in industrial quantities. Recruited under false pretenses, trafficked workers are forced to run fake trading platforms and romance investment scams around the clock. These operations are highly coordinated, combining human trafficking, money laundering, and cyber fraud under one roof. The UN Office on Drugs and Crime estimates that these syndicates now generate tens of billions of dollars a year.
Yeah, now CoffeeZilla did a video a wee while ago, maybe a week ago, and he talked about how the casinos were advertising and people were, everything that you see, even celebrities are endorsing these online casinos. I've been to Cambodia, and when I went to Cambodia, there's a city that's close to the ocean. Can't remember the name of it, sorry, but you'll get the idea of my story. In there, I met the chief of police, the chief of Cambodian police. He had 5 cell phones, by the way, and they don't like them online. They bump data back and forth. Just thought I'd chuck that in there. Anyway, I met him and I said, how many of these casinos do you now have in the city that's by the ocean? And because when I was there was about 30 of them. There's now 130 of them. And they literally are working out of buildings that have been built by the Chinese, leased back to the Cambodians. And when you go into these casinos, they actually use American money. It's kind of really weird. And I went in there just to have a wee look around and I was told to sit down and gamble or get out. Cambodia is a very sad country because when I crossed over the border from Thailand to Cambodia, you know, you would see a mum there begging for food, not asking for money. And I had a bunch of bananas as I walked over one of the bridges when I entered into Cambodia. By the time I got to the other end of the bridge, I had no bananas left. I was starving, not as much as the wee kid that was literally dying in front of me. But when I met the chief of the head of Cambodia Police Force, I said to him, I said, well, aren't these casinos owned by the Chinese? And he goes, no. He said, they're just in Chinese names. And I go, oh my God, didn't know. And also I met the head crime commander of the Philippines as well. And I met Aaron West, which was fantastic. And it was the most amazing thing I've ever been part of. 150 organizations that are on the same boat as me. We're not in the Titanic, man. We're in the flight. We're in a fight for. We're on the right ship. We're not the sinking ship. We're on the ship that's trying to help people. And we get criticized. I get called things. People say you're doing this for YouTube clicks, and I go, have a look how much traffic I get. I have a small voice, but a friggin' loud voice. And when I see shit like this going down, it's time for change. It is time that we do something that makes a difference. Don't do the same old things and expect different results. Is this organization, are they really going to reach out to me? Do you think? I should have mentioned that in a poll. You know, oh, thank you, Y. Thank you very much. Somebody just donated me $20. That is so generous. Thank you very much. That does help. I should be working right now. These operations are highly coordinated. Look, we've worked with Bloomberg. They did a 20-minute documentary. And this is the ironicness of Bloomberg documentary, right? 10 months investigation with Bloomberg. We gave them a building where 450 people worked. They were producing scams like We Global, the blockchain era, X-Pro, what does it start off with? Lilo Pay. That's not 4 scams. That's one scam that rebrands itself every 6 months. They were produced out of the same building that Sam Lee was working out of. Sam Lee, We Are All Satoshi. What is it? We Are All Satoshi. Stable Dale, Stable Opinion. VidiLook. Then you got Vend 2, which was VidiLook Never End. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then they other VAV, which is a scam where they told you that if you put $150 in, within 24 hours, you'd be able to get your seed money out. And you would have $75 left on the platform, which you wouldn't be able to do anything with. And then 3 days later, they said there's a $1,500 package where you could buy that. $750 package. And within 24 hours, you'd make $1,500 and you'd be able to claw back your $750. And then they had a $3,000 package. Is that right? Yeah, $1,500 package where within 24 hours, you would get $3,000. You'd be able to take your seed money out and then you'd have $1,500 on the platform. And that was just a gift from Sam Lee. You know what happened? The first window, the $75, half the people that we could track, because we can't track everything because people don't like to speak when they've lost money and they realize it's been a scam because they want to keep it private, they were able to withdraw their money. All the people that could withdraw their seed money on day 2 told everyone all about it. And then when day 3 happened and they opened up the $1,500, the $750 investment, everyone piled in. And they never let anyone take their money out again. And this was because Sam Lee at the time had wrote a dud check out to one of his ex-business partners and the check bounced. And in Dubai, that's a no-no. So Sam Lee I got a phone call from the IRS telling me that Sam Lee had been incarcerated. And I said, oh, why? And they said, we don't know, but he's been incarcerated, arrested, or brought in for questioning in Dubai. The Bloomberg documentary unraveled that he was actually in incarceration for 60 days. He's now a free man walking around Dubai like he's a free man. And in the meantime, he was doing a cash grab, trying to get money to pay his ex-business partner off so that he didn't spend time in jail. And if you know what was behind this, now how do I know all this? Well, his flatmate, Gareth Blakely, who was trying to desperately get out of Dubai, who Sam Lee had decided to put charges against him, which meant he lost his passport. He also lost his travel permit. So he was trapped in Dubai for a year and a half. He was in correspondence with me on a weekly basis. I haven't heard from him now. He's back home in California. But his concern, because he was deemed the person that stole all the money from VidiLook, which brought in 15 million, that he was going to be taken out to the desert and shot. I had a secret recording with him when I first met out to him, and I broadcasted it live. He said, you got to take that off. I'm going to lose my life. I didn't, but he didn't lose his life. I was lucky. But what I'm getting at, all these scams that I've just mentioned all come out of the same compound. When Bloomberg investigated it, they trotted off to Dubai twice to meet up with Sam Lee. Couldn't find him because he was incarcerated. They didn't know that at the time. They went to the building where all these scams were running, and no one was there. It was empty. 450 people have now moved on to another building. Jim Browning, he was working with Ken Gamble, an Australian guy. They had been tracking a big scam that had cell phone towers parked outside in Dubai. Yeah, right in Dubai. 2,000 people worked there. They told all the authorities everything they wanted. The authorities in Dubai ghosted them. 3 weeks later, they found a video online where people were in their underwear. They had videos, all their video footage that they had given the authorities had gone to an investigation, and they closed down this building and arrested 2,000 people in Dubai. And they ghosted Ken Gamble and Jim Browning. And I've spoken to both those people about that. They said, it's just, it's the world we live in. My point of these conversations is I know a lot of intel. I don't believe that many people really know what they're talking about. Until proven otherwise, I'm here. I'm an open book. you can use my intel. My Avengers will help provide any information. We can go places where you guys probably can't. We've got open communication with a lot of these gangsters who don't realize that we are who we are, and it just goes on and on. I think I've said enough. So the human trafficking, yes, one thing, but the promoters of these Ponzi schemes and scams is the other thing that I feel that they're missing. They might be missing.
These operations are highly coordinated, combining human trafficking, money laundering, and cyber fraud under one roof. The UN Office on Drugs and Crime estimates that these syndicates now generate tens of billions of dollars a year.
Not even close.
According to the FBI's 2024 Internet Crime Report, Americans alone lost over $9 billion to online investment fraud, a 43% jump from the year before. Globally, the numbers are likely far higher. Many victims never come forward out of shame or confusion.
So these reports they do are pretty clever, and I'm sure that they've got evidence. But from my experience, when people lose money, they don't talk about it. So I'm assuming that this intel that they're getting is from people that have reported crime, and it's called a crime report. So I'm actually skeptical and thinking that that's not even close to the real figure. These online casinos that you see advertising, go watch CoffeeZilla's latest or second latest video about the casinos. I think the next thing we'll be working on, maybe it's going to be a romance scam. This is exactly what the pig butchering stuff. So his video that's going to drop soon is going to be on romance scams. It's going to be big because that's exactly in line with what this organization theoretically claims they're going to be fighting. I just don't feel that you're using all the tools in your toolkit to fight these scammers. I believe this is a war. I believe this is something that we need to fight together. You need everybody, like in the movies when it's wartime and you see all the people in the paddocks with the rakes and the hose and the shovels, and they go and fight the war with the tools that they have in hand. Well, that's us. That's the Avengers. We're just working in the trenches. We're digging the trenches. We're grooming the trenches. We're working on morale, all these sort of things. We don't have the big machine guns, and we don't have the tanks, and we don't have the airplanes, and we don't have the Navy behind us, but we play a part in this. And I think it would be a sad day if someone from this new organization doesn't reach out to myself and my Avengers for help. One of my Avengers said that they recognized somebody, they know somebody personally that was in the announcement that would come out today, which is quite exciting. So they know we exist. They suck our brains with information. We're always providing intel, and we're willing to do that, of course. But why not change the tactic? Why not let us, what do you need help with? Because I reckon we know more than you guys do. Just saying, I know, we want to help.
What the Strike Force says it's doing, the newly formed Scam Center Strike Force brings together the Department of Justice, the FBI, the U.S. Secret Service, the Treasury Department, and the State Department. Its goal, to identify, charge, and dismantle transnational scam networks, and to trace and seize the money stolen from victims.
Yeah. This Christopher Goliath Ventures Inc., I got told by some very, very prominent people that I've got to be careful how I report it, because what I'm reporting on is going to destroy families. And I get that. And I'm not a dream stealer. There's no dream that you can put $100,000 into an investment opportunity and get $60,000 in a year. That $60,000 a year that you get back in that particular scheme is coming from somebody who's just invested. That's how Ponzi schemes work. So when we say that there's 6 different government agencies working on this in America, we mean it. And when we read these names and hear the FBI, the US Secret Service, now the FBI is a 3-letter word. When somebody said there's some 4-letter companies involved in this investigation, I thought it was the USS. So the USSS. And I said, oh, that's 4 letters. And then they said that's the United States Secret Service. I went, oh, right. But there, with this current investigation, we literally have 6 different government agencies working together, investigating Goliath Ventures Inc. And people keep saying, can you prove that? Can you give us get this? They want us to give them the agent's name so they can ring up to see how the investigation's going. And I said, well, if I gave you the number of the head investigator, and you get some intel back, I'd be keen to know about it as well, because often it's a one-way street. And if anyone tells you that they're working with, you just don't get intel back and forth. But I do get welfare checks from some of these government agencies, and we do have a relationship with them. But I understand how it works, and I get it. And that's why we're privileged when they reach out to us asking if they can ask us a few questions. They don't volunteer information, but they do. And we're friggin' amazing. Honestly, Susie just put something in the chat room down here. It says all hands on deck. This is a fight of a lifetime for me. I was brought up in a religious cult, as I often talk about. These scams are using the same dirty tactics to persuade communities. They go after communities. They go after the Black African communities a lot of the time. I see that people who don't even know the arse end of a computer holding up a phone, and some scammer that we know based in America is trying to educate them how to transfer money out of their fiat currency into crypto so they can transfer it into a worthless token. And when you got this worthless token, you can buy something on the platform. It's a game of Monopoly, and it's just terrible to watch. This is happening. I can give you the phone number of someone. Oh, it's an Australian one. I watched Yvonne Henry help a couple who'd already lost all their money but still had their superannuation money available transfer $100,000, $50,000 each, over to Sam Lee, who was running a scam that was promoted to Americans. And I watched her help facilitate that. The video, she was on WhatsApp, and I saw a message when she was live on the internet, and I could see a number of a YouTube video, and I typed it in manually, and I found a video that had never been viewed by anybody. I was the first person to view it. And this was the evidence for the couple who had given $100,000 away. And I put that in, found that video that was an unlisted video, and found a transaction with Sam Lee, Yvonne Henry, and the two couple. We've got their names. I reached out to the couple. I said, you guys all right? I know you've just lost $100,000. We saw the video. They never, ever came back to us. So I go off to every government agency I can find in Australia, the ATO, which is the tax department, just like the IRS for America, and also the senators in Australia. They have it set up very much the same as America, but they have senators in Australia. I wrote to 40 of them, and I got one email back from a guy who said he'll bring it up at a meeting, but he can't guarantee me any action. I said, 2 Australians just lost $50,000 to an Australian. Here's a phone number. Here's where she works. Here's the scam she's promoting. Here's 10 videos of her promoting that scam. And I got crickets. And people go, oh, you should report it. You want me to go fill out an online form on an Australian website saying that somebody's been scammed that I know, when the people who have been scammed are too embarrassed to even bring it up because I've been scammed previously. They were a lovely couple. I found out everything about them. I didn't get their phone numbers, couldn't get their phone numbers, shoulda, coulda, woulda, as Judge Judy would say. And that's what we're fighting. So all hands on deck. I mean, it's just crap. I just feel I can make a difference, but I'm an unheard voice. And trying to deal with government departments who seem to be on a slow gravy train is frustrating.
Pirro claims her office has already seized over $400 million, filed actions to forfeit another $80 million, and plans to return the funds to victims. She also said they've seized websites and communications equipment, including satellite terminals and accounts used by scam compounds to connect to the internet.
I just don't believe that's true. I'm sorry. That might seem like... I've got Christopher Diego from Goliath Ventures. We estimate a $300 to $500 million scam happening in Florida right now. Right now, people are still being pitched this investment opportunity. Right now, people are contacting me. At least every week I get somebody who says, I was about to invest and I found your videos. And they're $300 to $500 million scam. And here they are talking about how they've brought in $400 million. I mean, I might be a negative... I don't want to be a Karen, but I might be a negative Nancy. But here's so they've got $80 million that they can potentially return back to invest. Put a B in front of all these words. They should have seized $400 billion. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and it's just hard. I mean, I honestly believe if I was running the government, even though I'm a New Zealander, I reckon I could point the finger and prove that these people, how much tolerance do you need? Now, if I went into a dairy in America and decided to steal something and somebody called the police on me, would I be able to walk out of there and just say, oh, I'm not guilty? Or would the police come after me, handcuff me, and take me to jail? So why can I stand behind a computer screen and commit fraud, and I have to prove that this person has done the fraud? I have to prove that somebody's a victim. I mean, the reporter that I contacted yesterday, after he emailed me, I'm saying, are you going to keep reporting the news of the people at the bottom of the cliff? Or do you want to stand at the top of the cliff with the Avenger in the face of the scammer who's based in America and tell people tell him to stop pushing people over the cliff? These are people who are providing investment opportunities to people, have these stupid disclaimers on their PowerPoint presentation to say this isn't financial advice, do your own due diligence. The money that we're claiming you could make is only hypothetical, all this stupid stuff. I mean, I'm sorry, but something needs to change, and I don't see it changing, and that's why I'm negative.
At the same event, the Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, announced sanctions against the Democratic Karen Benevolent Army, DKBA, a Burmese armed group accused of running and protecting scam centers. Treasury official Bradley T. Smith made the consequences clear.
Pixel come to say hello. Didn't want to jump up. Don't like jumping up on Dad's knee, but he likes it when he's up here. So it's all very good to name and shame an individual or an organisation that you're going after. That's great. But I can give you a few more organisations. Probably not any in the China district, to be honest, because I don't know those ones, but I help where I can.
It is now illegal for those sanctioned to move money, buy goods, or purchase services in the United States, and as a practical matter, to engage in any significant financial transaction around the world.
Now, I just want to say something. I can guarantee you anything you like that I could set up a company in Wyoming and carry on trading under that company name. This is literally what's happening with my Pakistani software houses. They've set up hundreds of companies. We've got 1,000 domain names of websites they've produced claiming they're providing services to Americans as Americans, but it's all been pushed by the Pakistani software houses in Pakistan. So you're telling me that these companies are going to come up to you and say, we'd like to buy some goods. We'd like to buy some goods with our real name and everything. Is that what you're, Pixel, sit down. So, I mean, these companies are cleverer than you. I mean, one organisation that we saw, Goliath Ventures Inc., actually, he used Samuels to register their companies. And we've tracked 500 companies that this guy Samuels has set up, who's helped facilitate so many company structures. He's in America. And so they just set up companies. Just go through your database in Wyoming and just check to see who the company directors are, and ring them up and see whether you can actually get them on the phone and talk to these company directors, because I don't believe they exist. It's just crazy. Did I read that last paragraph? That's an important point. Let's have a look.
That's an important point, because sanctions don't just freeze assets. They make it criminal to do business with these networks anywhere in the global financial system.
Yeah.
The whole of government model. According to the TRM Labs analysis, this strike force represents an all-tools or whole of government model that integrates criminal indictments, sanctions, financial intelligence, and diplomacy. Each agency plays a role.
Yeah. Okay, so let's have a look at those different roles. Department of Justice, what do they do?
The DOJ handles criminal charges and forfeitures. The FBI, Secret Service, and Homeland Security investigations carry out field operations and crypto tracing. OFAC and FinCEN use sanctions and financial pressure to cut off laundering channels. The State Department applies diplomatic leverage and visa bans to disrupt corruption in the host countries.
Yeah, so let me just use Christopher Diego and Goliath Ventures Inc. So these two organizations here, OFAC and FinCEN, two organizations that you should be registered with if you're going to do anything to handling of money. Well, Goliath Ventures Inc., a company that was set up in Wyoming, in Florida, unregistered itself as a company and closed down the company in Florida on the 3rd of September. Yes, just a couple of months ago, and reopened themselves, you guessed it, in Wyoming. And they don't have any of these registrations they're not licensed to handle money. So there's a company in Florida shut down, even though they had given away, as per their words, $100 million in dividends in 2024, shut down the company, and everyone who signed their contracts with that company are still, are still operating, getting funds from Goliath Ventures Inc. But that company's been dissolved, gone, doesn't exist. But they reopened themselves in the state of Wyoming because the laws are so flexible there that you can do anything you like. They haven't even told their investors, as far as I'm aware, that they have shut down the company. What's going on? Doesn't that, is somebody sitting there listening to what I'm saying? Do you realize that a company has shut down and still trading? They've reopened them in the slack state of America that doesn't really enforce anything. Mickey Mouse could go open up a company in Wyoming. Mickey Mouse could go open a company in Wyoming, or Pixel my dog, and they would be able to use that as some credibility that they're a real established company. Not even have, it's like, let's use dogs as an example. At the moment, we've got a few dog law changes in Christchurch. Those laws are not there for the people that do register their dogs. Well, they are there. But the people that are registering their dogs and doing it properly, those laws apply to them. But they don't have the problem with the people that register their dogs. They have the problem with the people that don't register their dogs. But the law, changing the law is not going to help the people that aren't registering their dog because they don't give a stuff about the laws. It's just, I don't know if I'm making sense today, but...
Pirro said, our best and brightest are being brought together to attack this problem by securing our infrastructure, returning money to victims, and bringing perpetrators to justice.
Well, I'm totally ignoring everyone in the chat room today, but Queen of Karma, Velvet, of course, Susie, who else is in there? Why? Thank you very much for your $20 donation. That really does make a difference. And you can join the YouTube channel just by hitting join if you like my charismatic nature. And please share these videos. Share this video. I mean, I like my opinion to be out there. It's not my way or the highway, but sometimes it's frustrating. Our best and brightest are being brought together to attack the problem by securing our infrastructure. Returning money to victims. Oh my God. When they say returning money to victims, this is part 2 of the scam. Anyone that gets scammed, I can guarantee that probably 20 or 30%, well, I can actually guarantee that 70% of people hope there's some organization out there that can get their money back. People come to me and they go, hey, I had one literally last week and I did a whole blog on it, the Australian guy. He said, I want to tell my story, but I want to be anonymous. And because I said, I don't want other people to lose their money. And I go, oh, that's great, mate. However, do you think there's a possibility I could get my money back? So I gave him, actually gave him King Gamble details. Now, he's never, and there's also another organization out there that will tell you what happened to your money. And they talk to me and they say, we never, ever promise anybody will get their money back. But people sometimes like to think there was a real person at the other end of the chain of this scam where they could claw the money back. That's what the human psychology says. I was talking to a person that took my money. This person will be in a human trafficking compound talking to you with somebody with a taser on their neck telling them that they've got to meet their quota or they'll get tortured. They're working 16 hours a day in these human trafficking compounds and 7 days a week. It's not a resort where they get to lay on the beach after work. They go to bed, they wake up, repeat. They don't care. They take their passports off them. They promise them the world when they get there. Often they land in Thailand. They'll have their passports confiscated for paperwork. Then they'll be told that the free flights that they use to get to that country are void and they need to work these flights off, even though they're told that their flights and accommodation will be all covered. The accommodation's covered, all right. And these are the lies they tell people. These are the same people that are defrauding people. So individuals who believe that they can get their money back, it is a lie. But if you're interested, you can hire a recovery, not a recovery agency, an investigator company that can tell you where your money went. It may give you some closure, but never think you're going to get your money back. And even That quote, returning money to victims. To me, I just about vomit when I hear that. I want to actually hear from a victim that's had their money returned. Anyone listening to this video that has had their money returned after being scammed, I want to hear about it.
It sounds impressive on paper, but I've seen countless task forces launched over the years, each promising cross-agency cooperation, only for them to vanish quietly after the press conference ends.
There was this idiot when I was working, no, I weren't working with, but I were sharing intel with the IRS. There was an idiot called Roy Conarcher, I call him Con Archer. He was claiming that he was putting together a class action lawsuit in Dubai. They don't do class action lawsuits in Dubai, but some people seem to have missed that whole point. And he was gathering intel from people. I think he actually got up to about 25,000 people on his YouTube channel who believed that he was actually going to do a lawsuit and go after Sam Lee and get people's money back. Do you know what he did? He built up a database of people, relaunched another scam called Step Chain, which even has an app in the Apple App Store, but let's not go there. I didn't mention Apple App Store in my thing, but a lot of these people, a lot of these scams, if they manage to get an app in the Google Play Store, it's not a big deal. But when they get in the Apple App Store, it's a big deal because they have set up literally a fake company to mislead Apple into thinking they are genuine and produce an app that provides financial investments to people. So literally the new scam that he was promoting, which was three-level, multi-level marketing stuff, the guy even who owns the company tried to come after me, telling me that legally he's going to come after me. He rang me up, and I put it on the internet, of course, as I do, calling me a pedophile. And this is what the company owner of this company that Rory Conarcher was now promoting. He built up a community on the hope that they'll get their money back. And then he marketed to that same community after saying months previously in a video that he would never market to that community, but he tried to re-scam them. And this was their way of getting their money back, was by signing up for a platform where he was going to get a commission. His niece, who sold 3 properties, who lives in Dubai as a, let's say, spiritual healer, a yoga master, whatever you want to call them. I'm not into that stuff, don't know what to call it, but she's lovely. She provided me screenshots, documents from his company, videos, and also voice clips of phone calls that she had with him. She produced she gave me enough information for me to produce amazing blogs. She took him to the South African courts. He has now been liquidated. Rory has 30 companies. The one company that he was telling everyone their investments were secure, and if they rock the boat, they won't get their money back. He went to court and tried to represent himself and failed miserably. It was only because of the videos that I had done exposing that he hadn't stopped promoting multi-level marketing investment opportunities, and he was still rampant, that the courts decided they temporarily seized his companies, that he was demanded to provide information and failed to do so because he said they didn't have authority, even though they were appointed by the courts. When it came to the court date, they bankrupted his company and they put it into liquidation. And now if there's any assets there, they'll be returned to investors. The whole ploy all the way along, there was no money there. He had invested in Hyperverse and other crypto scams, promised people high yield return on their investments that are too good to be true, destroyed families and friendships along the way, and now he's bankrupt while one of his 29 companies is, and he's still claiming he's a victim and he's an innocent party. That's the length, and these are the promises. So whenever I hear that people are saying that they are able to help people get their money back, I think of situations like that, and it's bullshit. The best way to get your money back is to never give it out in the first place. Stop listening to Instagram's stories and all the stupid hype out there about high return crypto investments. If the world could wake up to that, we wouldn't need a department set up to help people get their money back. I don't know if this actually gives credibility to these investment scams by saying that we need an organization that's going to fight these crypto scams. What we really need is somebody who's got the balls to stand up in front, I'll do it, and say that every single 100% of these crypto investments that you see advertised anywhere is a scam. And I'm not going to give hope that, oh, you've got to be careful, because in my opinion, 99.9999% of everything I've ever looked at is a scam. And people go, oh, you just call everything a scam. And I go, the only people that make money out of these scams are the people that recruit. And it's all about recruitment. So make recruitment or talking about financial opportunities illegal, or make people accountable who recruit. I'm a registered financial advisor. I go to school and I learn how to do it for 4 or 5 years, whatever it is. I do all the courses and I get myself a certificate. And now I can provide financial advice to people through regulated industries. These people on Zoom meetings aren't regulated. They're not qualified. They know nothing about the companies they're promoting, and they still have an influence. Zoom needs to be held accountable.
Working with the private sector. But who exactly? Pirro made repeated references to working with the private sector and said that Meta, Microsoft, and AARP had already offered to collaborate. That's good to hear, but it raises a question. What about those of us who've been fighting this scamdemic for years outside government walls?
I don't mind Microsoft so much. Bill Gates, I need Richard Branson would come in here and clean up this shit. I reckon he'd do quite well, but he's not American. Meta. I'm meant to be excited about that. Meta, how many times have you seen a Facebook advert that is actually a scam? How can they collect $1 billion a year from billions of dollars a year from advertising, and then claim they want to help clean up the same act that they're facilitating? I mean, I don't know. I should know who APRR is. Sorry, who is it? AAA, official site, non-profit. Is that the same one? You mean a magazine wants to help? It's not the right one, is it? APBR, what's it stand for? Susie will let me know in a minute. A leading revolution. Don't know, let me know, Susie. I don't know who that AAPR, it's an American organisation. Let's carry on before I get off while I'm on my high horse.
Independent investigators, journalists, and docent researchers have been tracing scams, identifying networks, and warning the public long before governments paid attention. My own database documents thousands of leads, wallet addresses, and scam domains across multiple countries.
We were tracking $250 a day being paid into a Ponzi scheme called Boomerang, where people were told that if they pay $500 for an arbitrage trading license, they would be able to make $1,500 a day. They even went to Dubai, set up an event, and they were publicizing it as true and genuine. On opening day, they claimed that they flooded the Polygon network because they were doing 100 transactions a minute. The Polygon network can actually handle 64,000 transactions a second. But that was the reason why they said they were going to limit all the trading that people were theoretically doing to one trade a day. Now, if you did a trade, they decided that, it's a long story, but basically they had a $10 button, I think a $25 and a $50 button. If you did a $50 trade, you could make 20 to 60 cents. And then we found the master crypto wallet address where they would put money into it and they would be paying out people their trading profits from this one account. And then whenever it went into maintenance mode, it was because the wallet went empty at 3 a.m. in the morning. And when they topped it up, it would start trading again. So we found that wallet. And it was Crypto G's money, thanks Crypto G, but we put $10 worth of our money into it, and then it come out of maintenance mode and people were able to do trades. And we sat there, hit and refresh until we watched it on the blockchain. And what they were doing is they were just doing swaps from one currency to another, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Then Rob Woolley, my mate, come along, and we went into the website. And we found the website code that was generating the winnings that this company was claiming was done from arbitrage trading. So after they started doing arbitrage trading, then all these other companies, all ran out of China, all started claiming they were doing arbitrage trading as well. And everyone's doing arbitrage trading. And now everyone's producing credit cards that are backed by Visa that Visa don't know anything about. Why does Visa, don't get me started, why does Visa allow people to have their name on a credit card claiming it's backed by Visa when Visa publicly deny the fact that they were endorsing a card? Now that's Bloomberg documentary talking here. I didn't finish that story. Long story short, Bloomberg produced a video, 800,000 people viewed it. I was featured in it. Sam Lee was featured in it. And Shavis Anwar was featured in it. Shavis Anwar threatened me with a lawsuit claiming that I'd lost $300,000 because of the hardship I gave him, and he also had a stroke and I caused it. And he also got my website removed from my website host with fake court documents. For some reason, which Bloomberg haven't told me, they have actually re-edited the video that I was in with, and they've stripped out everything to do with Chavez Anwar. So now it's kind of like throwing me under the bus. Does Chavez Anwar have some clout with Bloomberg? Did he produce some fake documents and threaten legal action if they ruined his great reputation? He even won the Entrepreneur of Middle East award, and we found companies that he was claiming he owned their software. Then we found the companies that were white labeling the service he was claiming his developers had produced. His developers has produced this software, and we found the company that had given him the white labeled service. So we reach out to that company and go, do you realize that Chavez over here is claiming that he is the developer of the software, what looks like your service that you're offering over here? They come back, they wrote back to me, oh my God, we want to know more about this. Next minute, the same company called Zip Chain were holding an event in Dubai. And guess who the number one sponsor was? Liquid, what do they call it? Liquid Pay Finance. So this is a company that claims their credit card is backed by Visa. They even have an app in the Apple App Store, but not under Liquid Pay, under Miranda Limited. They've set up a whole company. So we set up a website called liquidpay.com. And in here, we exposed the guy. We exposed Chavez. This video, I've had 8 copyright strikes in the last 5 weeks. I've only got 1 left at the moment. He's claiming that this video shouldn't be on the internet. 4 times it's been removed. 4 times my video has been removed. In here, it exposes the whole company from A to Z. This here has got Grace Zumba in it, a federal judge promoting his Ponzi scheme and scam. Bloomberg did a documentary about him, and they removed him from the documentary and reposted the documentary about 2 weeks ago. This is the battle that we have. I am the soldier. I am the guy in the front line. These guys are getting away with it. We expose them. They try to shut us down. And not only that, this guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 companies. We've had these websites shut down. They get them back up again. There's Chavez here, and here's the quote from Bloomberg Business Week. Visa said in a statement they had no relationship with NinePay. His company was called NinePay. And after he got interviewed by the reporter in Bloomberg, he rebranded the company to Liquid Pay. And exactly the same thing. 2 weeks after this was in Bloomberg Business Week, he rebranded the company and carried on doing what they just rebrand. His name at the time was called Chavez Anwar. Now he's won this award with Entrepreneur Magazine Asia Middle East. He's now come out with a different name, and I can't pronounce his name, but I think it's Chavez Shadinki. And if you want to see, I've got his lawsuits on the wall over here. So why is this guy allowed to continue? Why are Americans allowed to promote this Ponzi scheme and scam? This isn't new. We've tracked the wallet addresses that come from Hyperverse way back, Hcash. And we've tracked that the company that was coming. Remember I talked about originally about they had a building where they were producing Wee Global, Blockchain Era, X-Pro, is it Homify? Are they in there as well? I don't know. But anyway, a lot of these scams come out of here. This is the same company. So $1.9 billion scam, same company, still going today, just rebranded a few times. They kicked Sam Lee out of it. I was in ABC News in Australia. I got a clip. I was in a documentary. I have to show you because it's actually, I might be able to, I should be not naughty, but I was in a documentary with ABC, is it News? I think it's ABC News or News Australia, one of these two. Yes, this here. So this is all about Sam Lee. And when you get to these guys here, they're trying to recover money. This is amazing. This guy here is Alan, his name is. This guy, this is how stupid some of the government departments are. This guy here is worth $14 million. He's an Australian guy. He had his passport taken off him because he was a flight risk. 2 days before he was formally charged, some idiot decided to give him his passport back. So when they charged him, he was already gone. And he was heavily involved in hyperverse. So it's just, you know, and anyway, while I was showing you this, there was a video in here. This video here was actually given to, is it ABC News by me.
How do I do that? How do I do that with this?
So this video is breathtaking if you've been following it like I have. But in this video, I know exact words that's going to come out of his mouth. He said, I can keep producing scam after scam, or we can start doing legitimate business.
And you know what? Business first, charity second. Business first, charity second. I need to be a good businessman, make the money that I make, and then, of course, give back to the community. Why do I have people around me? That's because even when everything goes wrong, things still go right for me. Because it's always someone else's fault. Let's be clear. From a legal standpoint, it's always someone else's fault.
That's a guy who lost $100,000 who still loves crypto. But this video that you saw there was I filmed it. I managed to get into a leaders meeting. There's 130 people in there. I'd never seen the people in there before. I believe it was all cartels, people that produced these scams in the video. And there was Sam Lee doing his last ditched effort to stay in as the leader of this community that fronts the real world. And now Chavez Anwar, it takes over this organization and it continues. But if you didn't know anything, you would think that this organization was new. And people who I go out to and go, oh, look, you know, Chavez is really behind this, blah, blah, blah. They go, oh, no, you can't take it all the way back to Sam Lee. And I go, all the crypto wallets go all the way back to Sam Lee. And before, I've said to people in the past, with Hyperverse, it started with an organization called Hypertech Group. And Hypertech Group, I've got their corporate structure on a PDF, and I can tell you it went from Hypertech Group to Hypercapital to Hyper Fund, Hyperverse, Hypernation, Hypercosmos, Diversal, Hypercapital. I don't know if I said that, but they rebrand themselves all the time. But same organization, and now it's got right down to the end, and it's called Affiliate Marketing 3.0 LLC, based out of Wyoming. And it's Sam Lee, is a Australian-born Chinese citizen, working with Ryan Zhu, who's disappeared. And then you've got Alan Joel. Is it Alan Joel? You know, it just goes on and on and on. So it's just so hard and frustrating. So I don't know if I've said this paragraph. We might have to carry it on. Let's carry on.
Independent investigators, journalists, and docent researchers have been tracing scams, identifying networks, and warning the public long before governments paid attention. My own database documents thousands of leads, wallet addresses, and scam domains across multiple countries.
Yeah, we do. So we have the intel. We're willing to share it. We know the people who are involved. We know where the scams are even produced out of the time. They're not always coming out of Myanmar. And they're not always coming out of Thailand. And they're not always coming out of Cambodia. But yes, there's lots of smoking guns there. But a lot of the stuff that we're doing is coming out of your own countries. I've had the police knock on my door once and deliver a trespass notice from a lady who used to be an ex-police officer. And I said, what are you doing? And they said, oh, she's worried that you know her home address. I know where this lady lives. And I said to anyone, if you want your money back, I'll give you her address and you go around and get it. She heard me on the thing. So she's freaking out going, but she's a scammer promoting the same scam that Chavez is promoting. She's in the New Zealand community. So the FMA, our financial regulator, puts out a warning. They ignore it. They carry on doing the same old thing. This lady is an ex-police officer We believe she was working in the call centers. Police don't deliver. They don't deliver trespass notices in New Zealand. You can get them couriered. I'd never been on the lady's property. I'd never actually doxed her and put her phone number on the line. I've never told anyone her address. I just told people I knew where she lives. The same lady was pitching her investment scam to some 80-year-old people I know, trying to get them to invest in her scam so she could get the commission. There's no justice, guys. And then the police deliver a trespass notice from a lady that I've never been on her property. And I said, why don't you investigate the lady who got this? We don't want to get into it. We know about you. We know what you do, they said. I said, really? Well, you should start investigating the people that are wasting the police times. I literally ripped up the piece of paper, threw it in the air and said, get off my property and go do some good old-fashioned police work.
If the strike force truly intends to build a public-private partnership, it can't stop at big tech. It must also involve those of us who've already mapped the landscape. I'm more than ready to share my data, if they are willing to engage.
So you think about this. Have you ever seen those big blocks of, is it granite or marble? And they put a wee crack along the side and they get a wedge and they tap it in and it splits the concrete. That's what we are. We're the wedges that split these companies open. We can crack open anything. You give us a scam is like giving a bone to a hound dog. We will find it. We will open it. We will tell you who's behind it. Open source intelligence is what we do. And I think these organizations need to start doing things different. They need to trust a few small organizations like ours. I believe that we can make a huge difference here. We just need
Learning
backing.
from the Prince Group case, the Dodgers case against Cambodia's Prince Group shows what this type of coordination can achieve. In 2025, prosecutors unsealed indictments against Chen Zhi, the group's chairman, for wire fraud and money laundering conspiracy linked to forced labor scam compounds. Investigators traced 127,271 Bitcoin, worth roughly $15 billion, making it the largest forfeiture in US history.
Oh, not good enough.
Alongside that, OFAC sanctioned 146 targets, and FinCEN designated Cambodia's Huon Group as a primary money laundering concern, cutting it off from the US financial system. The case proved that when every lever is pulled together, indictments, forfeiture, sanctions, and diplomacy, billions can be frozen before they vanish.
No comment.
That's the kind of integrated approach we need to see regularly, not occasionally.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, why not start at home? Queen of Karma's in here. She's spent her last couple of years, if not more, of her life fighting on passive. On passive, just got fined like $25 million. I can't remember the exact figure. And the guy that theoretically isn't allowed to be the director of a company now, Ash Mafare, whatever his name is still in Zoom meetings. And he's looked at like a cult leader. And people look at him as a visionary. And he's just scammed over $105 million from people, even being able to advertise on the side of a massive building. That was even in the Bloomberg documentary I did. And, like people like Queen of Karma dedicate her YouTube hours and hours and hours exposing these organizations. And we get called the naysayers and the dream stealers. It's breathtaking in our world. I'm not asking for anything other than I want people who are about to invest to listen up and use common sense. If it's not regulated, there's a reason for it. If it's not regulated, you can't go back to the law enforcement and ask them to help you, can you? Because it's not regulated. You've chosen to go to an unregulated industry because it's all new hype about crypto investments for ping words that you don't even know the meaning of. It's just crazy.
The human cost of the scamdemic behind every statistic is someone's life destroyed. Pirro shared the story of a Virginia man who lost $272,000 to a crypto scam before taking his own life. There wasn't enough money left even to pay for his headstone, his daughter said.
I've had two people in my immediate family die by suicide because of they couldn't live up to the high expectations of the Jehovah's Witness organization, I believe. When I started doing these scams videos 5 years ago, there was one company that rang me up, a whistleblower company, were offering to partner with me, and I didn't partner with them. But if you become a whistleblower, there is money there for people who whistleblow and help government agencies. And if they recover the money, you can get I think it's 30% of the money that's recovered. And the company that reached out to me was a whistleblower company, and they said that they would fight all my legal battles. They would do everything needed to fight the battles if they use my intel. And if and when we get the money back, they would go halves with the money with me. And I said, thanks. I didn't know anything about it at the time. I listened to it. Never happened. I actually had 2 companies reach out to me with similar sort of deals. But long story short, I think what was really interesting about that is I can't remember the story on that. That organisation that reached out to me said that 11 people in one scam had died by suicide. And that shows that's part of my why, is because I've had people in my immediate family die by suicide. It affects me every day. And now there's scammers out there that are promoting these scams. So there was a great video. If you go to my website, there was this video here of Brandon Williams, who exposed Scott Morris. And this was breathtaking. In here, in this disposition that went down the other day, the scammer was in here, and he was asked, this is Scott Morris, there was a lady that died by suicide he was telling to invest. And it was all going throughout his community. He basically said it's not his problem. It wasn't the reason why she died, and he's not a medical professional. It was just stupid. This lady had lost everything to advice that he had given her, like any investment, you could argue, but these people offer high returns. They sell this dream like a passive income, where you give money and sit back and twiddle your thumbs and you're going to be made whole. It is ridiculous. This was the absolutely incredible disposition, and it was done in first class. It was 4 hours and 31 minutes, and at the very end, there's a hero of the day, and we in the scam fighting community, Brandon was amazing. Ponzi Patrol, he's a friend of the channel as well, but we did a whole video about that. So people are dying by suicide. So these people, as I said before, aren't taking people's money. They're actually taking people's lives. They're destroying relationships, friendships, and they are living a fake persona of individual. They are the bottom feeders on the planet, these people that promote these unregistered security, unregistered financial investment opportunities.
The Secret Service reported more than 3,000 victims contacting the agency in 2025 alone, with $495 million in cryptocurrency seized or frozen. In one case, agents traced 500 websites linked to a dating app scam, recovering $66 million. Another case led to 120 new victims coming forward after the first seizure was publicized, proof that public visibility matters.
One scam in New Zealand, 300 or 400 domain names were registered for one scam, and it's called CR Global. And I've got 8 New Zealanders that were promoting it. And I've gone to the FMA. I just got an email back 2 days ago basically saying they're not going to investigate their latest domain name because it's already been shut down. Who shut it down? The Terminator. And it was, I forgot what it was called, the new domain name. But these people have now reported my videos for privacy. These people are claiming that I've breached their privacy because I've rung them up and talked to them with their voice and said to them, how are you promoting CR Global? And they go, yes, I am. One guy who used to work for a government department here in New Zealand, I exposed him. I contacted the government department. I contacted everybody I knew that was associated with him and said, this guy is promoting a scam that's been flagged by the FMA. And they've had over 300 or 400 websites removed. And now he's promoting the latest version of it. Why the hell is this guy allowed to even exist on the planet? And who's going to stop him? Have you lost money to him? No, I haven't, but I speak for other people. If you get one of those victims who's brave enough to go here, we'll listen to them and we'll start the paperwork. And I'm going, F off. It's just ridiculous. Cautious. Okay, so I might be knocking this new government agency. Do I feel like they have the power or the resources to actually go after these scammers like themselves? What you actually need is 20 people like me. I'll put my hand up. I don't want to work for the organization. I want to be an independent contractor. I want to be silent. I'm happy to be silent. I want to provide you intel. I don't care if you bleed my brain dry, but give me something to go on. Tell me who you're going after. Give me individuals' names. I'm not going to get on here and do a broadcast about Mary Poppins if she's been investigated. But I can tell my team of Avengers to let's have a closer look at Mary Poppins. Let's find the circle of people that she is around. Let's look at the crypto wallet address we've got for Mary Poppins, and let's see what other crypto addresses are associated with it. Crypto G, he's my man. Susie, she's my lady. We can dive into these crypto wallets, and we can go through and find who they're associated with digitally and on the blockchain. We can find, what we had a lady the other day who's my last copyright strike is for a lady that's called Zion. Now, this is the sort of shit. I didn't even mention her name in this. Let's go back. Zionic Global. Zionic Global is a lady who is meant to have a $450 million portfolio. And she's decided that she's going to spend her life inside a computer promoting her new crypto opportunity. So here's, I'm going to open up these two, and this is just give you a real life example. So the first one here is this lady here. She's managed to actually pay for a sponsored advert in a magazine called Income Opportunities. How ironic. And if you go through and have a read, you'll be horrified like I am in the picture. Here, we do a whole video on it. And the bullshit that this lady says in this magazine is just total crap. Now, this company has tried to do a copyright strike, meaning they've taken the video, one of the videos offline that I've done, and within 15 days after YouTube realized that she's not going to stand up for her rights to have my video on the internet, they will put my video back online. So it might even be this one here. I think this video has been taken off. No, it must be another video. Must be the live version. So people often wonder why I have two versions. I record this live. After I finish this live, I'll chop this up and put it back on the internet. I'm doing it because these dumbasses that claim they are internet gurus don't realize that I have two versions of the video and I stream onto 6 different platforms. If I cut this up into a podcast, then it will be on 18 different platforms, which literally gives me 24 places where my content is marinating on the search engine. So when you come along as an innocent investor and you search for Zionic Global, you will find that one of those bits of content will come up in the search things. So we literally shut down. So if you go to this website, you can see that we have actually shut down the zionicglobal.net website. And we've also shut down, which redirects to, so it means that they've already lost control of their zionicglobal.com website that redirects to zionicglobal.net, means it's probably been frozen. And I know because we've frozen both those websites and the domain names, and they cannot move them. So what do you think happened there, guys? So this lady that's in America, which I'm going to add into the list, what do you think she does? Let's have a look. So she goes and opens another one called, right, so this is zionicglobal.co. And she hasn't even got this set up right because of the secure certificate. Now, this is a company that's taking people to the future and the moon and Mars and further. And then what they do is they go set up a new domain name. They move it to, so now it's getting a denial server attack. Great. And now we've got zionicglobal.ai. So every investor, even her PowerPoint presentations, still promote zionicglobal.com because you hadn't had a chance to update them. This is a lady who's claiming she's in charge of a $400 million empire. But we research her, and why I started talking about her, we start researching her and we find out that she's not the one behind it all. It's her husband. Her husband has been on behind MLM since 2013. She's decided to get on the bandwagon. She claims that she's the co-founder of 2 successful companies. And now she wants to help people build their financial freedom. And this lady is on Zoom meetings day in, day out. How can my team take down her website? Why can she report my video to YouTube and I have to wait 15 days to either appear in a federal court and defend my right to have my video, my opinion, my journalistic flair on it? Just a video like this. It wasn't a copyrighted video. Basically put, it was a fake copyright strike that YouTube seemed to entertain for some reason. And I have to sit here and wait 15 days before my video goes back online. And I've had eight of these copyright strikes in the last 5 weeks. Why is that allowed to happen? Is YouTube helping me? And am I a criminal, or am I exposing or telling the truth? What am I actually? So these people use what they can to fight back with us. It's just ridiculous. So I'm hoping that these organizations will have and give me more clout. I'm hoping that somebody from YouTube will say, look, Dan, we see what you're doing. We are sorry for taking your content offline. We're sorry for restricting your content to certain countries because of the scammer complaint. We need to have some balls. We need the scammer to actually realize that he can't complain to YouTube about my videos and my privacy. And YouTube need to have balls and go, oh, do we take the advertising dollars, or do we risk that we might find ourselves in court with some person from another country trying to say that Danny is reporting lies? Why the hell would I be reporting lies about scams? What's my motive? I'm going to be a famous YouTuber one day. I can't wait. All right, let's carry on. So yes, so it's a cautious welcome. Welcome to this new American government organization. I can't wait to see what you guys do.
So, am I hopeful about the scam center strike force? Yes, cautiously. Any coordinated effort to disrupt scam networks is worth supporting, but I've been doing this too long to take government promises at face value.
You can obviously see this one here. I woke up this morning and I'm going, oh my God, I've got to do a blog about this.
The real test will be whether they work with independent investigators, share data, and engage with the OSINT community that's been exposing this ecosystem for years. Until that happens, this looks like another bureaucratic operation built around the same agencies that ignored these crimes for far too long.
So we need a government organization set up that involves OSINT reporters or OSINT investigators. That's what really needs to happen. We need some leeway. I understand that I'm not going to be sitting at the head of the board meeting with a government investigation. I get that. But why not set up a separate organization which listens to what we are saying, and we will give you amazing intel that you can act on by doing a simple bit of research and verify it's true and accurate, and then get it from us and then go do your own investigation. Let's just say we are the turbo that drives scams. Exposes scams. Better get that right. So that's what we could do. Imagine having a plane that runs on water. It doesn't do much, hey? No, but let's have aviation fuel in those engines, and let's power the government agencies with our intel. Isn't that awesome? Wouldn't that be amazing? I believe it would be awesome. All right, next one.
If the Dodge wants to make a real difference, they should start by listening to the people who've already been doing the heavy lifting. I'll be watching, and I'll be waiting for that call.
Yeah. Now, I've already reached out to a government agency who's read, I'm just looking at it right now. How do individuals like us get involved with the new task force? And I've got, it's pretty cool. Right. Oh, and as I speak, and as I said when I started this video, in my inbox today, there's another update from the lawsuit that's going on with Goliath Ventures Inc. Do you know Goliath Ventures Inc., the $300 to $500 million lawsuit that they've tried to file to me that has no jurisdiction here in New Zealand, but they've tried to file it to me? They actually asked the courts to give over my OpenAI chat data and my Grok data, so that they could, and they wanted data, and they named all the people they think that had been informing me information. So they used the court to submit a proposal to the judge or whoever is looking at the case to say that they want my OpenAI data, and they named all the individuals in this document, and I've done blogs about this, of course, to intimidate anybody coming forth and providing me information. And then they submitted quite a few other documents, and now they've told the courts that they're quite happy to wait. They don't need that information there anymore because they've used the court system to name individuals they believe are providing me information to intimidate them, so that people will stop providing us intel. It hasn't, but it makes people who haven't got the balls or the soldier mentality that shut up. And it's amazing. So there they are using the legal system to intimidate people who might be whistleblowers. And this morning I've got an update. I hadn't had a chance to have a look at it because I wanted to do this first. But you can go to the Orange County Clerk office, search for Danny DeHeck, and you can read all the documents. Now, not only this, This company that has defrauded Americans out of $300, maybe $500 million, got somebody to serve me what looked like court documents to where I was, I hadn't been in this building for 10 days. I go in there for 20 minutes, and this guy that served me, or tried to serve me, he served the wrong person. But anyway, he got there at the end, and he comes into the shop after we've trespassed him from the shop, says he's not welcome in here anymore. And he served us with a document that claimed that somebody had gone to Christopher and proposed that they were great friends of mine, and they said that they would offer $50,000. They wanted $50,000 from Christopher if they could persuade me to remove all my content off the internet. And once that was successfully done, then Christopher would have to pay another $100,000 to this person that meant to be a close friend of mine. Then they served this to me like it was an official court document. It even had, I couldn't share it anywhere online and all the official stuff you'd think to see. And it was never filed in Orange County register. You can see it not there. So I've put it on my website. They were offering me $150,000 to shut up. This is the criminals. This is how they operate. And this is them doing it in America to a New Zealander who's exposing them. We have crushed that company. And as I said the other day, now it's a race to the finish line. I am well ahead to the finish line. Christopher Diego, whatever his name is trying to catch up with me. And behind him, there's 6 different government agencies coming after him, asking him questions, and all his associates. And we've got 130 people on our person of interest list. And we've got a database which we share with government agencies. I hope that they're not just looking at my data and not connecting with me. But if you wonder how we investigate this stuff, we don't do anything illegal. On the bottom of all my blogs, you'll see how this investigation was conducted. And it's open source intelligence. Now, someone clever, one of my Avengers, said to me, "You're an Austin reporter." Austin. And I go, "What's an Austin reporter?" And they said, "Open source intelligence." And I read this, and it says, every claim that we've made is from publicly available records, archived web pages, corporate filings, domain name data, social media activity, and open blockchain transactions. No private data, hacking, unlawful access methods were used. Open source intelligence is a powerful, ethical tool for exposing scams without violating any privacy laws or overstepping legal boundaries. And that's exactly what I do. So I loved it when I see it. Now, if you don't know anything about me, yes, I am called Danny the Heck Investigations. I've just taken that on. I have a podcast. You can book me if you're a victim. You can book me. You can support me by giving me donations. I'm not doing it for the money, but unfortunately I can't do it free of charge. So I do ask people to help me out. I've been featured in Bloomberg's. News Australia had called me Australasia's biggest scam fighter. How about that? Opal India, the Press, which is our local New Zealand paper, Stuff, it talks about here how I managed to, I successfully defeated a $3.85 million gag lawsuit. Was ruled as a vexatious attempt to silence whistleblowers. So somebody tried to have a go at me. The guy's still coming after me today. Guardian Australia, I helped Sarah Martin put together about 14 articles about Sam Lee, and she built a whole series of articles around him. And then on the 14th article, she actually mentioned me, and I got mentioned. ABC News, you just saw a clip of Sam Lee being interviewed. We go into Zoom meetings and we expose these guys. We cause disruption. I believe that the only way to fight these guys at the moment is disruption. Now, I'm hoping I'm going to be proved wrong with this new government department. And of course, way back in 2022, November the 11th, I think, I was in the printed edition of the New York Times. You know why that was? That was because the New York Times didn't want to go after anybody that could potentially sue them. That's literally why. They didn't have enough information to prove 100% that the people that we were chasing in Hyperverse were scammers. So they decided to do a featured article about me and my quest to name and shame anyone running or promoting a Ponzi scheme or a scam. And that's what they did. It was a massive article. It really did put me on the map. Just recently, I've started to stop saying to people I'm the crypto Ponzi scheme Avenger, and we're calling ourselves Danny the Heck Investigations. And of course, I don't do it by myself. I have a team of Avengers. So Adam, A guy that claimed he worked for the Avengers, well, he worked for me. Effectively, he kind of does. He was the guy that helped somebody realize that they were about to get scammed. If you're ever going to give away your money to anybody, stop, think. You know, when they say you're on fire, you drop, roll. Well, do the same when you're about to get, exposed by somebody who says, if you're listening to something that sounds too good to be true and they get your interest, then that's how they get the hook. And if you ever go fishing, you can go out with a net and you can scoop up the whole ocean, or you can put hooks and you can put different types of bait on the hooks to attract different people. Net fishing doesn't work so well these days. We're all used to the Nigerian scams and the princess that wants to give us $1 million and he just needs us to spend $100 to open up our bank account. We're used to that big type of fishing stuff. But now these scammers are getting better. They are using different types of bait to lure us in. Now, lure is a great word because that's a flicker that attracts your eye, and it's too good to be true. Don't get lured into giving away your money. Make sure you have two-factor authentication on all your devices. Download a password tool to store your password. I'm an Apple user, and I use passwords, which is built into a Mac. If you haven't got your head around how a password works, we use it for everything. Even I don't know my password when I enter it into things. I have 2 layers of passwords on my website so that people can't hack it very easily. I could still be hacked, but the chances of being hacked, if you are an internet user and you put in your name or your email address as your login, 50% of your login details have been given away. Don't use your email address as a login if you can help it. Try to use something that's a bit harder, like a name or, not a pet's name. And then your password, if you can type in your password and remember it because it's easy, wake up. You should not know how to type in your password. I can look over the shoulder of any of my mates that's in my industry, look at their password and not remember it because it's got uppercases, lowercases, special characters, whatever. You need to use a password tool. The password tool, you can have a more basic password to open that tool. It's a firewall between you and the scammers out there. Alrighty, so let's have a quick look at this this video here and let's see what we've got. I would like to sort of listen to it because I haven't listened to all of it. I've actually transcribed the video and used that to build the blog. So let's have a listen and see what this lady says that this new task force is going to do. Hope you enjoy it. This is what I woke up to this morning and I want to share it with you.
Jeanine Pirro, the U.S. Attorney in Washington. We're here today to target a growing epidemic, and that is crypto investment fraud scams perpetrated by organized Chinese crime syndicates that successfully target Americans and victimize them. In 2024 alone, Americans were scammed out of more than $9 billion as a result of this cryptocurrency fraud. Experts estimate, because of underreporting, that it is as much as 15 times more than the $9 billion. It starts by weaponizing the very devices that you and I hold and use every day to do our banking, to enrich our lives, to communicate with our friends and our loved ones. And sometimes people communicate with us whom we don't look forward to speaking to. But they meet on social media platforms like Facebook, and they text their victims seemingly by mistake. They prey on older Americans because of their loneliness. They first gain their trust.
Oh, they picked up on that. It's so cool. They prey on Americans because of their loneliness. And that's why so many people actually die by suicide. Not only are they lonely, they lose all their money, and that's what happens. But I'm so glad they picked up on the loneliness because I think loneliness is a killer. And that is amazing that they picked up on that.
And then they move the conversation to WhatsApp or other encrypted communications. And they shuttle their victims from legitimate crypto platforms to fake platforms that they themselves create and control. What I have here is a classic example of the kinds of contacts that people can get in a text message. So it would say, for example, "Hi, Patricia, I didn't see you at the gym today." And the person with the phone says, "I'm not Patricia, it's the wrong number." And the scammer says, "So sorry, I hope I didn't disturb you."
Ugh.
And Patricia, or the wannabe Patricia, says, "No worries at all." And the scammer says, "You seem like a really nice person. What's your name?" She identifies herself as Sandy, goes back and asks him what his name is. And then it begins. Now, since President Trump has sought to make the U.S. a leading haven.
I think it's interesting that they've used it as an example, but maybe they need to use it as an example to keep it really basic so it keeps it real for people. But we've all had those messages worldwide. Well, I'm in New Zealand, I presume on the bottom of the world. But it is interesting they actually mention that as an example. But I do feel like it's 2 years old.
For cryptocurrency, it's important for Americans to understand the safe use of the commodity. There are no tricks that can be a part of cryptocurrency. As part of the president's goals, we strive to expose these fraudulent contacts and pitfalls so that Americans end up being secure in their investments. Now, the consequences of these scams are devastating. Older Americans in particular are targets of these scams, many of them lonely, many of them looking to speak to someone who communicates with them. Their entire life savings gone. Their retirement funds gone.
Yep.
Left with no opportunity to go back into the workforce and to re-earn money. I want to give you two examples. One is a woman who said she sent $40,000 initially, and she was provided with screenshots that showed the profits of her cryptocurrency investment. Quote from the victim: "That was telling me I was making all this profit. That's what encouraged me to invest more."
Can you imagine how many people have actually just listened to those words right now and go, "That's what's happening to me," and are now panicking? The lady who rang me this morning just before I went live today was in a panic because some scammer had tried to scam them. And I said, "Have you paid out any money?" And they said, "No." And we got there. We got there at the start, at the top of the cliff, not the bottom. And that's what we want to hear. But they were still in a panic. So you can imagine the panic that people go through who realize they have been scammed and lost their money.
And in the end, the woman, who was 60 years old, lost $1 million of her life savings.
Wow.
Another person said, "I've been financially assaulted, and it's a devastating feeling." A Virginia man who lost $272,000.
I just want to stop it there because Susie just mentioned something really interesting in the chat room there. I think it's up top. Is the companies now? If I'm allowed to have a phone number that is not associated to a mobile plan, so my phone number's all over my website. I use 2 Degrees as my mobile phone provider. But I think that I get these phone calls from 09 numbers, which are virtual numbers, which are or 09, or if I get one that's 61, then I know that it's coming from overseas. Or if I get a +1, I know it's coming from overseas, But I don't know whether the phone number is actually a virtual number or associated to a real mobile plan. So I believe that the virtual numbers that they give out, like hen's teeth, that they should have some way of telling you that it's a virtual number and not a real number. Because if I go back to a virtual number, I can't track it. So it's like anonymous communication. And I think that would be one major thing. I don't know why they do it, or I don't know why privacy shouldn't let me know whether this is a registered phone number that belongs to an individual, or it should flag it as a virtual number, and I should have the right not to accept any phone calls from virtual numbers. I believe that would wipe out a lot of stuff straight away.
And this is the saddest of all. Quote, "There wasn't enough money left even to pay for his headstone." The daughter of a victim of cryptocurrency fraud who killed himself.
Die by
So
suicide
this
is what you should say,
scamdemic
lady.
is certainly a generational wealth transfer from Main Street, USA, into the hands of Chinese organized crime, making it both a national security problem and a homeland security problem. And with the partners behind us, my office will not stand by as these Chinese organized crimes enterprises empty out the bank accounts of hardworking Americans, many, of course, left without the ability to go back into the workforce. And that is why we are here today. With our partners at the Maine Department of Justice, the FBI, the United States Secret Service, a scam center strike force is being created. As the prosecuting office in the nation's capital, we have the authority to charge foreign defendants and seize foreign property well situated to engage also with our partner agencies across the government. This new strike force mission is to
I don't actually know how that's
identify and
possible.
charge the leaders of these cryptocurrency scam organizations.
No one knows who the leaders are.
To trace and to seize the stolen funds to the victims and seize and disable the United States infrastructure that is the manner and the means of the scam itself. So already we've been hard at work. We've already seized over $400 million, and today we are filing additional actions to forfeit $80 million that we will return to victims. We have seized websites being used by these compounds in Southeast Asia that are used to victimize Americans. We're seeking warrants to seize satellite terminals and accounts being used by the perpetrators to connect to the internet.
Jelly Snacks just asked who the lady is speaking. Where have you been? The lady is actually a U.S. attorney. I'll read it for you.
Attorney Jeanine Pirro.
Jeanine Pirro. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. I'm just actually adding a few extra names into my into the blog of individuals. It's so rampant, isn't it? Anyway, back to that. Hello, Jelly Snack. Nice to see you here. Oh.
And our Strike Force Burma team has identified, quote, the Democratic Karen Force Burma Team, Benevolent Army. Let me say it again. The Democratic Karen Benevolent Army, which is a Burmese army group, which is supporting scam centers, which we have nominated for designation by the Treasury Department. We're calling on all U.S. providers to assist us because left unchecked, this will continue to grow.
It's been left unchecked. It needs to act fast. Speed is an essence, and paperwork and just so you know, what I've done is we go back to the blog here. You'll see I'm updating as we go and listen to this, but there's a whole page about who she is. Susie's just put that in the chat room. And we will have a quick read about who this lady is and what authority she actually has. She's the president by the sound of it.
Jeanine Pirro. Jeanine Pirro is the United States Attorney for the District of Columbia. Judge Pirro was Senate confirmed in August 2025, having previously served as interim U.S. Attorney beginning in May 2025. Judge Pirro has more than 3 decades of experience in law enforcement. She served as an Assistant District Attorney for Westchester County, NY, before becoming the first female judge elected to the Westchester County Court. Ms. Pirro was the first woman elected to serve as Westchester County District Attorney for 3 consecutive terms, and was the first female president of the New York State District Attorneys Association. Judge Pirro has the distinction of starting the first domestic violence unit in a prosecutor's office in the nation, followed by several other victim-focused programs. She is the author of 8 books including New York Times bestsellers, Dates of Service, 2025 present.
Oh, she's been in the New York Times as well, just like Danny.
And it will grow on the networks that we talked about, resulting in U.S. believers, U.S. users believing they can no longer trust these platforms as safe. We want to work with United States partners in a public-private partnership to ensure that these corrupt scammers will immediately be cut off, thus preventing the United States infrastructure from being used as a means to perpetrate fraud against Americans. My final message on this issue is as follows. The Department of Justice will not stand by while Chinese organized crime victimizes Americans and bleeds dry the hard-earned investments of American citizens.
Well, they have done, though,
The
haven't
Scam
they?
Center Strike Force brings together a cadre of resources across agency. Our best and brightest are being brought together to attack this problem by securing our United States infrastructure, by returning money to victims, and by bringing these perpetrators to justice. Now, I'd like to call upon two of the people behind me right now, Gregory Heeb from the FBI Criminal Division, Deputy Assistant Director.
All righty, next.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Gregory Heeb with the FBI's Criminal Investigative Division. I'd like to thank United States Attorney Pirro and the men and women serving in your office, ma'am, for leading
Sorry, it's not very loud. I'll see if I get it on volume there.
to bring agencies,
Is that better?
experts, and other resources together to fight the growing threat that scam
Is it too
centers
loud?
pose to the American people. I'm proud to be here today standing beside our partners to demonstrate the FBI's commitment to the important work of the Scam Center Strike Force. Our partnership with the United States Attorney's Office in the District of Columbia and with the agencies represented here today is critical. It's a critical component of the FBI's strategy to counter complex fraud schemes no matter where they originate.
Hey, talking.
The FBI has dedicated resources from headquarters here in Washington, D.C., from the Washington field office, and from field offices around the country, including New York, New Haven, Boston, San Diego, Philadelphia, Chicago, and Nashville, to advance the work of this Scam Center Strike Force. In addition, the FBI relies on teams of FBI professionals serving in legal attaché offices across the world, in Southeast Asia as well, to
They've
advance
set
the
up
work of the
office
strike
in
force, and we
Wellington,
do so in
New Zealand
close
now.
coordination with our foreign law enforcement
Exciting.
partners. The lasting impact from highly sophisticated transnational financial crimes emanating from these scam centers can be devastating to victims and their families, as United States Attorney Pirro mentioned.
You got the same problem I've got. Look, I don't even. Oh, there it is. That's better. The same problem I've got, Jelly Smack, because it's only in one ear. But they haven't got a good recording on the video. It's only got one ear, so I can't make two ears sound. Isn't that crazy? I don't think there's any sound settings, but yeah. So if you think it's in one ear, it's only in one ear. But when I talk, I'm in two ears. So hello, right ear, left ear, only right. Yep. See, right, left ear, right. That makes sense. But anyway, let's carry on.
There are countless stories of Americans who have worked their whole lives only to fall victim to one of these schemes and lose everything. Everyone is a target, and anyone can fall victim. These fraud schemes are on the rise. The FBI's Internet Crimes Complaint Center reported losses exceeding $6.5 billion in 2024, and that's just from crypto investment fraud.
You know, he just said that crypto's on the rise. It's a scamdemic. It's like saying COVID hasn't got around the world. Remember when COVID was coming out? It was like Wuhan, they've got this disease, and then all of a sudden it crept its way into America and then around the whole world. They have said themselves in this video, it's a scamdemic. I've been saying it for 5 years. Ever since COVID happened, I've been saying it's a scamdemic. But it's not on the rise. There's a scamdemic happening.
Schemes alone. That's a 43% increase in losses from the year before. This year, reported losses are on track to increase, once again surpassing those numbers in 2024. Keep in mind, as the judge mentioned, this number only captures losses that are actually reported to law enforcement. Actual losses are much, much higher. The FBI is committed to working alongside our partners to protect the American people and to pursue the criminal networks operating these scams. It is our job, together with our partners here today, to stop these criminals, and we are going to do just that. Thank you very much.
Oh, I love that claim. Excellent. I just
like
added Larry
turn it over to
Lane
my colleagues and
into our name of people, because he's a real famous one. Larry Lane, we're coming for you.
Good morning. I'm Keogh Dolan, the Assistant Director for the U.S. Secret Service's Office of Field Operations. I'm pleased to join my colleagues today from the U.S. Attorney's Office, Department of Justice, the FBI, and the U.S. Treasury and State Departments. Since 2019, the Secret Service has seen a major uptick in cryptocurrency investment scams. The organizations behind these scams leverage an ecosystem of criminality, often weaving an intricate web of illicit activities together.
So just to reiterate, guys, the sound that we've got is poor, and I've tried finding it on other platforms, but whoever recorded this didn't use stereo. So if you're listening to her speak in one ear, don't go readjust your audio. It's just, obviously I'm in two ears now. I couldn't get a better recording than this, but don't let that deter the message, deter you from the message.
To perpetrate their schemes. These schemes include human trafficking, victim engineering, and money laundering, among other crimes. The U.S. Secret Service, along with our partners, have worked diligently to investigate these scams and return stolen funds to victims. During the 2025 fiscal year alone, the U.S. Secret Service has responded to approximately 3,000 victims who contacted us regarding cryptocurrency investment schemes, and we seized or froze approximately $495 million in stolen cryptocurrency. These stolen funds were primarily obtained from cryptocurrency investment scams linked to scam centers located in Southeast Asia. With the newly established Scam Center Strike Force, we can do even more to assist our victims in these scams.
See if you can notice the difference between images.
Brings unique expertise and capabilities that, when combined in a strategic and coordinated manner, will greatly impact our ability to combat these scams and dismantle the criminal organizations behind them. The U.S. Secret Service will leverage our cryptocurrency tracing expertise, as well as our network of skilled forensic accountants, to trace stolen funds and identify impacted victims. Additionally, our overseas field offices have been working alongside law enforcement partners in the region for years to combat these crimes, and we will continue to leverage these relationships during our work on the strike force. As U.S. Attorney Pirro mentioned, we have already seen the results from strike force efforts. Included in the seizures announced today is a $66 million cryptocurrency investment scam-related seizure, which involved hundreds of victims that were targeted on a dating app. This investigation, led by the...
See, this pisses me off a wee bit. When I first had something to do with the IRS, they reached out to me and they said that we're not interested in investment scams. We're interested in the romance scams, because no one held a gun to their head when they said, would you want to invest? But with a romance scam, they feel like, they literally said to me that they're not interested in investigating anything that I've got unless I can put it on a one-pager, because they don't want to overwhelm the people with evidence and screenshots that we all get told to keep when we've been scammed. Well, I haven't been scammed, but you know what I mean. So they wanted a name of a victim, how much money they've lost, who took the money, and if it was a romance scam. Because they said if we read this one out and it reaches the hearts of the investigators, or they feel an emotional connection to the scam, then they will go after that scam. So it was kind of like saying we're at the beach and we've got a handful of sand. Oh, this piece of sand looks very good. We'll do a story on this one. We'll go after this one piece of sand. I'm saying that you need to go after the platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Zoom, for God's sake, anyone that's promoting it. And if you go back to, if we just flip back here to my blog, just while I've been talking, I've actually added, I'm just going to make this massive. I've actually added these individuals. Oh, damn, hold up. Why does it do that? I just wanted to do one thing. So I've updated this list of people here. And I've added Alice Maysbury. Alice Maysbury has got 15 people that claim they've lost money to him, and he's still being investigated by a sheriff who I've been in contact with, and that was years ago. Graham Frame. He's a retired guy that managed to recruit, I think it was, I can't remember the number, I think it was 200 people into Megan and Regan's stupid YB scam, where they were claiming that if people signed up, they would get $442,840 a month if they signed up for her opportunity. She's still going today, and she's just managed to get a membership fee of people. And Graham was promoting it and managed to recruit 200 people. This is an old retired guy sitting there on his ass in front of the computer. Larry Lane, one of the Avengers, we call him Larry Lane, because he's involved in every Ponzi scheme and scam. Now, there was another guy out there called Michael, it was called VidMe. And VidMe, Larry Lane had signed up 1,500 fake people at the top of the pyramid so that he would benefit if they'd ever got traction. Larry Lane is a twin who's an American. All these people here, as far as I'm aware, and I'm 99% sure, that all these names that you see right here are Americans in America on Zoom meetings today promoting these scams, and they're focusing their attention that they're coming from China. These Americans that I'm showing you here are promoting these Chinese scams or have connections in some way or the form. We can prove it through the blockchain. We have the data. We've got it. You want it? Come and get it. We'll share it with you. But don't, these numbers that they're talking is chicken feed. These numbers are not the true figures. They've just plucked out a few really good stories, which is great. We want them because it creates awareness. But these aren't you could walk down your street, knock on every door on your street and find somebody who's lost money to an investment opportunity, who's too embarrassed to talk about it. The people that talk about it are very few. And that's what I'm getting at.
The U.S. Secret Service's
David
Global
Chandler.
Investigative Operations Center identified approximately 500 websites linked to the organization where victims were enticed with false investment opportunities.
I personally have a list of 1,000 websites of companies that have set up websites to entice people to get their book ghostwritten. 1,000 websites. Danny DeHeck Investigations here have got a list of 1,000 websites that have been they've been in the courts, and they list all the domain names. I've got the list. So for a government organisation to come out and say numbers like 500 websites, that's chicken feed. Why don't they go after the domain name providers who are selling these domain names and making a profit and say that they need to have more criteria? I could go register a .com website address today and start selling anything. And it would only take people who report me to close me down. The hosting providers would not place my content, even though I'd be violating their terms and conditions. The domain name company will still let me register a domain name that's got illegal words in it. Why do they allow these companies? Why does it take so long for the Terminator to shut down a website?
The second case I'd like to highlight that was included also in today's announcement is a $1.5 million cryptocurrency scam-related seizure by our Memphis field office. Of course, done in coordination with our FBI partners, thank you. We identified nearly 100 U.S. victims.
100 U.S. victims? Oh my God, you're pissing in a bucket. That's nothing. Just so you know, there's a description that I've written for this video that you're watching right now. If you go into the description, you can actually find the link to the blog that I've published, and you can read all those names. Remember, we have 650 people on our database that we call persons of interest, and probably at a guess, 300 or 400 of those are actually actively promoting Ponzi schemes and scams via Zoom meetings. 300 or 400 people are on my database, an individual based in New Zealand, of these people. I mean, I hope that you've got me on the big screen here in this new office and you're watching my videos and I'm going, hi guys, you are my best friends. I want to give you a big body hug, but I also want to provide you the intel that I've got. Why wouldn't you be knocking and ringing? Why isn't my phone ringing right now? Why hasn't it been ringing? Or, as I said, we have 6 different government agencies that actually have access to my data. And they, I'm just going to show you, what have we got here? So this is my database that may not look too super, there we go, big, small. So this is my database here. And if I go to persons of interest, you can see every single person in here has, I've got a file on them. So if I could click on to America, there's 250 Americans. So let's go to Tammy Jackson. So Tammy Jackson is a person that actively promotes Ponzi schemes and scams. She's even got a company set up called Blockchain Headquarters. And in there, she lists all the Ponzi schemes that people can join up and sign where she believes that you can make quick money before they collapse. This lady is a disgusting bottom feeder. I have actually gone after her.
The entire investment. We were all, well, not all of us, but a lot of us was a part of one particular major platform. I don't even want to mention the name of it because we all know who it is, but suffice it to say that there were thousands and thousands of people that has lost money in that particular platform.
So she won't name the platform because it was Hyperverse. And this lady was a big promoter on Zoom meetings every single day promoting Hyperverse. And now what is she doing? She's promoting other platforms, claiming that the new platforms aren't going to lose people's money. She's not a regular financial advisor. She's a bottom feeder living in America. I've got her home address. I know where this lady lives. You know, her name is Tammy Jackson. You know, we've even written, you know, she was involved in Hyperfund, Hyperlook, We Are All Satoshi. She was involved in Hyperverse. We've got a backstory all about this lady that you can read that isn't rocket science. And she's still on YouTube. So this is her YouTube channel, right? And now notice she's got 60 subscribers. This is an old YouTube channel, actually. But this lady's out there. So this one here is Bob Joe. I don't even know. Oh, this is somebody else. But she works with, and look at the people in the Zoom meeting. So if we're lucky, so this person here, this is Gobi. This is a guy that claims he's religious fanatic who's doing everything under the name of, oh, I won't be long. Give me 20 minutes. Okay. So it's just a rampant thing at the moment, which is a bit of a pain. Anyway, I've got to go pretty soon, so I'll just finish this off before we get going.
And after this seizure, an additional 120 victims came forward or were identified, further underscoring the importance of victim reporting. I would like to emphasize to those that are listening today that your voice matters. These cases started with victim reporting, and this fight will continue with your help. If you believe that you are a victim in any of these cases, please contact your local Secret Service field office.
Why?
Or email cryptofraud@usss.dhs.gov. Again, cryptofraud@usss.dhs.gov. Or you can file a complaint with the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, IC3. It truly takes all of us to combat these scams. So in closing, I'd like to thank U.S. Attorney Pirro and her team for your steadfast support. I'd also like to thank our Strike Force agency partners for their continued collaboration. We certainly look forward to working together with all of you to combat this scamdemic. And finally, I certainly want to recognize the dedicated efforts of the U.S. Secret Service team, especially our cadre of skilled analytic professionals and forensic accountants. This group, led by Callie, our program manager and cryptocurrency expert, with support from our special agent colleagues, have made such an impact in combating these scams. Of course, even our foreign and domestic field offices. They continue to dedicate countless hours to combat this scamdemic. So all of you have and continue to make a difference. Thank you for caring enough to do so. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your time today and turn it back over to U.S. Attorney Pirro.
Thank you. Thank you. And now,
just while we're turning it over here, this is the list of people that I gave the IRS when I was in a meeting with them. And these are what I said to them, these are my top 10, not top 10 time wasters, top 10 individuals. Some of them are couples, but every single one of these couples have got away with it. And they have promoted Hyperverse, Novatech, CashFX, and they are still rampant in the community. Brenda Bitcoin Beauty, who was, on a super yacht with Bitcoin Rodney, promoting Hyperverse. We went through, all the footage that we had, and we managed to find them in there talking about Hyperverse. And then we realized that whole cruise ship was a $60 million cruise ship they rented to run an event. And these are my top 10 most wanted in the US, that nothing has ever happened. No one has ever been questioned. I have archives of videos of these people in here promoting investment opportunities for American. How much more evidence do you actually need? $1.9 billion lost to Hyperverse alone, so they say. I actually call it a $4 billion scam. And now we're going to start fighting these criminals, which is great.
Key to our success is the collaboration with the agency partners. And I'd like to turn the podium over now to the Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC Director Bradley T. Smith from the Treasury Department.
Good morning, and thank you, Judge Pirro. We at Treasury are thrilled to be here today and to support the exciting strike force that was announced this morning. As part of that whole of government effort, working with our colleagues at the Department of Justice as well as the Secret Service, we are pleased today to announce that we are sanctioning the entity identified by Judge Pirro earlier today, the Democratic Karen Benevolent Army, or DKBA, and 4 of its leaders for supporting cyber scam centers in Burma that target Americans using fraudulent investment schemes.
Too late.
The DKBA is a violent group that provides, quote unquote, security at the Tai Chang compound in Burma. That compound houses cyber scam operations that have targeted and stolen money from Americans. Perhaps even worse, the DKBA actively participates in violence against the human trafficking victims trapped in the compound and forced to work in its scam centers against their will. As part of our broader effort to disrupt this network, we are also sanctioning today 2 companies and a Thai national who are linked to Chinese organized crime and have worked with DKBA and other armed groups to develop scam centers. It is now illegal for those sanctioned to move money, buy goods, or purchase services in the United States.
I think that's a joke. I do.
And as a practical matter, to engage in any significant financial transaction around the world.
Well, they'll just set up a company in Wyoming, won't they?
As others have mentioned, this cyber scam threat is serious. Last year, by our estimates, and estimates vary, but we estimate that approximately $10 billion was lost to Southeast Asia-based scam operations, a 66% increase over the prior year. In some cases, as Judge Pirro indicated, victims here in the United States have lost their entire savings to these schemes. Now, today's action actually builds on an effort that Treasury has undertaken since the start of President Trump's second term. Indeed, this is our 5th action this year targeting scam centers, totaling over 165 different designations, including one in May and another in September, targeting actors in Burma. Using the task force announced today by Judge Pirro, we are committed to continuing this work, to taking the initiative and working with our law enforcement partners and our colleagues around the government, including at the Department of State, to disrupt these scam operations and to ensure that we protect U.S. citizens and the U.S. financial system. And with that, I'd like to turn over to my colleagues from the State Department to touch on their work.
Thank you, U.S. Attorney Pirro, also all my agency colleagues. So good morning, I'm Chris Lamberg. I'm the head of the International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Bureau at the State Department. Since day one of the Trump administration, the Department of State has been working in lockstep with the Departments of Justice and Treasury and Homeland Security to prioritize protecting American citizens, including from threats of online scams. I'm proud to stand here today with U.S. Attorney Pirro, colleagues from DOJ and Treasury and FBI, the United States Secret Service, and all the hardworking members of the Department of Justice's Scam Center Strike Force. Chinese transnational criminal organizations in Southeast Asia have increasingly and purposefully targeted U.S. citizens, defrauding them, as Judge Pirro said, of more than $9 billion just last year alone, and posing every day a direct threat to U.S. national security and to our fellow citizens. Many of these criminal organizations rely on forced criminality, as it has been said by some of my colleagues, a form of human trafficking to facilitate scams, threatening victims with extreme quotas and using violence when these quotas are not met. We estimate that more than 400,000 people from more than 70 countries are forced to work in these scam compounds, primarily in Burma, Cambodia, and Laos. With the crime extending increasingly to the Western Hemisphere and Sub-Saharan Africa. Those numbers have likely grown significantly as criminal operations relocate in response to Beijing's crackdown In some places,
I've just added this paragraph into the blog, and it says if you've been caught up with one of these scams, the US Secret Service is now asking victims to report the case directly. You can email them, and I've put the email address here, or file a complaint through the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, and there's the link. Every report helps build a case against these transnational crime networks and could help recover stolen funds. Don't get your hopes up, kids, but it's something that's better than nothing, and better sooner than later, that comes to mind.
in Burma and Thailand. Recently publicized steps by senior Cambodian government officials demonstrate their concern, but are followed by little measurable progress toward disrupting a criminal industry that generates billions of dollars a year, equivalent to roughly 40% of Cambodia's GDP, for example. The Department of State is stepping up our efforts to stop these scams. We are dedicating more than $25 million of security assistance to support the DOJ strike force to combat this threat. We will also support the DOJ strike force using visa restrictions against corrupt foreign officials who enable scams, and through the Transnational Organized Crime Rewards Program, which enables the Secretary of State to offer rewards up to $25 million for information leading to the arrest and or conviction of high-level transnational criminals involved in scamming U.S. citizens. The rewards program can also offer rewards for information leading to the seizure and forfeiture of scam proceeds, similar to DOJ's financial disruption to the scam industry through its recent seizure of a huge seizure of cryptocurrency related to the Prince Group Holdings investigation. The Department of State is coordinating with the Department of Treasury as well to impose financial sanctions on individuals and entities involved in defrauding U.S. citizens through cyber scams. The State Department is working to eliminate the forced labor driving these centers through ongoing programs to raise awareness of fraudulent job recruitment, identifying potential trafficking victims, and bolstering government's abilities to prosecute human trafficking through digital evidence. The Department of State, together with our U.S. law enforcement partners and global partners, is protecting Americans, dismantling scam operations, holding those responsible accountable, and pressing all countries to demonstrate the necessary political will to uproot these scam networks. Thank you.
God save the Queen comes to mind. Thanks, Queen Carla.
I think that it's pretty obvious that we are committed to this new strike force from across all different agencies in the government. I think the biggest problem is that so many people have heard about crypto and they want to get involved and they don't understand it. And if they can see a legitimate profit on a legitimate website.
Yeah, but this isn't crypto. This is people using crypto to get the money off people. Then they put it onto fake platforms that aren't crypto. But people think it's crypto, but it's not crypto. They're using crypto to steal the money because it's unregulated and hard to track. And I think that really is the message that we keep getting. Because Crypto G loves crypto, and we're not against crypto as such, but they're using jargon, words to mislead people into thinking that their investments is on crypto, but there's no proof of it. There's nothing on the blockchain. You know what I'm saying?
They're all in. And that's what we're trying to prevent, especially when we've got these scam centers in Southeast Asia, and they are part of even bigger operations that are intended to target the United States to move money from Main Street USA to other countries. And that's why we're all here today. And I'm very proud of this operation.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And I want to recognize one person here on my left, and you're right, Karen Siebert, who is with my office and is one of the people who is at the center of the brains of this operation. So I want to recognize Karen for the work that she's done. She was actually on maternity leave, and I talked about Facebook and some of the other social media platforms. There are people who are reaching out to us saying, we want to be a part of this public-private partnership. So we're very excited about that. So I think it will be even bigger and will give, hopefully, Americans some recourse when they end up being scammed in these very targeted scams. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, to our knowledge, we think it is. And I think the benefit here, as I've already indicated, is because of the jurisdiction that I have here, we have here in Washington, we have jurisdiction over these cases from foreign countries. It is a first.
Sorry, can't hear it.
Well, I think the most important thing that we can tell someone who
So somebody was just asking what advice she would give them who've been scammed out of their life savings.
becomes victimized by this is, you know, don't be disappointed in yourself. Don't be upset with yourself that you fell to this kind of scam, because these people are experts. In some cases, their livelihood depends upon how much money they bring in to the scam center. So I think that's the most important thing. But the second most important
It is an important thing to realize that the person that's scamming you is actually being held under duress. And they have been tasered. As I said, I've got 200 videos that have been provided to the United Nations of people being tortured, buried alive, tasered, beaten up, bruises all over their body, literally the worst heinous acts that can happen. I've got the videos. And that's the real sad thing about it. So these people that are scamming you there's always somebody behind them. And then there's probably somebody behind the human trafficking compounds. It's very real. So, and they're professionals. So they're trying their hardest to get their money so they don't get beaten up, so they save their lives. They're working under duress. It's just a horrible circle.
thing is that if it sounds too good to be true, it is.
Oh, boom. Come on, guys. Listen to what she just said. If it sounds too good to be true. Goliath Ventures Inc., 60% return on your investment. Just because somebody who referred you into it said that they get their money out of it doesn't mean it's true and genuine and a real business opportunity. It just means it's a Ponzi scheme. And they will talk about it. Does it sound too good to be true? Listen to those words.
If you don't understand cryptocurrency at this stage of your life, chances are you're not going to understand it. Don't invest unless you're dealing with an American company, with someone who is a recognized, established company in the United States.
Boom, regulated financial advisor. Why do you people not hear those words? That's what you got to do. Go to a regulated financial advisor before you sit there on the internet looking at your computer screen, make an informed decision with con people. Go and talk to somebody real. Ask a family member that's not on the internet, does this sound too good to be true? And if they say yes, walk away.
See, there's a certain mystery about all this that everybody hears about people making millions in crypto. It's a fraud, and it's one of the biggest frauds that we're seeing. It was identity theft several years back. Now cryptocurrency theft is the biggest theft that we're seeing in this country.
You released a statement on the record recently that Mayor Bowser is not under investigation or the target of investigation. Can you say that trip in question, nothing about it's under investigation, no one involved in it?
I maintain the statement that I made. She is not under investigation, and she is not being investigated. I think we ought to just end it there.
Was she ever under investigation?
No, she was not.
Oh, there's always some sort of politics. He's actually asking her whether an individual has been prosecuted, blah, blah, blah. And it kind of takes it off track when they do that. I could poke out 100 names in this. If I was a journalist in this here and I was asking, is Sam Lee being prosecuted? I mean, it's relevant right now. And, and obviously, this is where the conversation dies and it's just about over.
You're welcome. Okay, everybody. Thank you. All right. And thank you to everyone behind me. I'm very, very excited about this. And just so you know, Meta has already indicated that they are willing to collaborate and partner with us.
Oh, really? Meta. Oh, my God, that's exciting. So the same company that's facilitating the scammers is going to be helping the government fight the scammers. Oh, my goodness. So next year, when Mark Zuckerberg gives his announcements on how much profit he's made from Metaverse, he'll have to take a big hit on the advertising dollars that he makes because he's facilitating all these people advertising. I mean, you go onto Facebook right now, or Instagram, you'll find there will be couples who are posting selfie photos of them living in exotic places in the world, generating that question, how do you maintain your lifestyle? And then they say, oh, we invest in gold. That's what I literally gave a reporter yesterday from ABC News. 40 individuals who are Australians who travel around Australia in these camper vans, and they do all these Instagram stories to generate leads so that people will ask that question. How do you maintain your lifestyle? We invest in gold, virtual gold. And that was all GS Partners. Then it was Homify, and now it's called Dayo One. And they're all fake investment scams that keep rebranding themselves, and we've been following a lot of them.
So that's a great first step. And we've got Microsoft has also reached out. See, I thought you'd ask those questions.
I don't know why Microsoft. I think Bill Gates might have a better shot at this. I haven't found any advertising on Microsoft, so maybe that's a good one. That's great. And the last one, I don't know who they are. I'd be interested to know who they are.
Microsoft has also reached out, and AARP has reached out.
Who is AAAP? I don't know who that is. Maybe it's an American company. I should know. Sorry if I don't.
They want to work with us. They know who's being targeted. They want to help us. They want to stop it. Good for them. Thank you.
Right. So what's the chances of me and my Avengers being asked to help fight these crimes? And how much of these investigations have we spent hours and hours of time on? And just put it in perspective, I think and breathe this stuff 80 hours a week. And then you think about the time that Queen of Karma, Susie, Crypto G, Jelly Smack, and Binance stuff, which has been in here lately, which is really, really nice to see. Think about how much time and energy we spend doing this, and think about our why. Why do we do it? Hey, look, I've got to call it quits. My partner, and this is the price that I pay. My partner wants to go away and buy a bed for her son who's away at the moment. And when he comes home, and I've been sitting here in front of the computer, getting ready for this broadcast since 7 a.m. in the morning. It is now, I think it's 1:30 in the afternoon. I'm still live. I've spent 2 hours and 51 minutes doing this broadcast, which I was hoping to do it within an hour. And Susie's just given me a link, so I'll just have a quick look at that and see whether I can figure it. It is the one I found before. So this is AARP. I don't know what they do. I haven't seen this company before. So yeah, I don't have any idea what they do. Don't forget Bob. Don't forget Bob, otherwise known as Larry Lane. Larry Lane's not part of our institution, but Larry Lane is somebody who's a twin, who's a scammer, but we've adopted his name because when he rings up people, he goes, it's Larry Lane. It's quite funny. We do prank phone calls. We have a great database here of people. We have a community that could really make a difference. We would be biting at the bit if some government agencies from this organization, we will do our best, and we've done this before, and this might be a bit of negative Nancy stuff, but we reach out to these government agencies. They want our intel, but they don't ask us to help. I believe that our team of Avengers and the people surrounding what we're doing, we can make a huge difference. If you're a news reporter and you're watching this, go after Zoom. Ask Zoom why they facilitate these scams. Facebook. I mean, really, are you going to help this organization fight their crime? I mean, come on, I believe that you're facilitating this. I mean, are you telling me with AI and all the clever stuff that we've got these days that you can't use AI to find where people are posting these ads from? If these adverts that are on Facebook are coming from Myanmar, I got told by a special agent based in Sydney that if you've got an IP address and someone's telling me that they were using a VPN to hide behind that IP address and they're an investigator, he said, get a new investigator. Because VPNs don't hide where you're located. Well, they do. But if you're good at doing your job, you can use a VPN and track this origin of where that intel has come from, where that advert has come from, and you can stop them. Now, why not just block anyone from those countries? I mean, there must be better monitoring systems out there, is my point, than we have been using. It's just absolutely wicked. So AARP is a non-profit organizer, a non-Pakistan organization, non-profit, hold it. I better read this right.
AARP is a non-profit, non-partisan organization that empowers people to choose how they live as they age.
Oh, right. Never heard of it before. And sorry about blowing your eardrums there. I turned it up when I was trying to get the sound right. And sorry the sound wasn't too good in that broadcast. But look, I think it's exciting for us that there's a government agency out there that seems to align with everything we do. I don't want to be skeptical, but I think I've come across probably a little bit skeptical. I'm hopeful that they're going to reach out to myself and maybe ask for access to my database, even though I believe they already do have access to my database. And, let's go get these bastards off the street. And my advice to this organization is clean up your own woods first, because you've got people who are, promoting these Ponzi schemes and scams. And I know that might be hard work, but there might literally need to be an organization that maybe is like a green room, and a green room where people like me and my Avengers can go there and share the intel with somebody. If there was an organization and it had 50 people in it, and you invited as like the people call centers that Pierogi has, I hopefully am invited to go to that this year if I've got the money to go, which I probably won't. But if I do, I will. I'll go there. But let's say there's going to be an invitation. I honestly, if you invited 20 people like me to a green room scenario where we could share intel with government officials on what we know, I think you would be blown away with what we actually have, because we spend the time. We do it for a different reason. We're not doing this for a paycheck, trust me, but we're doing it because we have a sense of doing the right thing. We're doing it because we don't want to have these emails where people email me or contact me in the morning before I get out of bed telling me they've lost money to a Ponzi scheme or a scam. We don't want to hear the Dear John letters. We don't want to hear that Auntie Mary took her own life because she invested her life savings, was too embarrassed to tell the family, and she died by suicide. We don't want to hear that. It's a very sad day. Hey, look, I've enjoyed this one. I've got my blood boiling. I think I've got it down to normal temperature. I'm looking forward to my phone call. Thank you to everyone in the chat room today. It's been a blast. If you can support me in what I do, I would like to do this full time. You can go to my website. You can join my YouTube channel. If you can't afford to do that, all you need to do is often say to people, just make sure that you are subscribed. I've even got a button to make it look official. Look at that. Click, hit that bell, and you'll be notified when I go live. The other thing I always say to people, which is a bit of a cliche, is I get Sadie to clean the window screen because I always like to give back to the community that helps me and gets the message out here. But if you can't afford to support me financially or give a donation or buy me a cup of coffee, one cup of coffee makes a huge cup of difference. Ha! Fuck that. You can literally share this video on your social media. Share it on your Facebook page. See if Facebook like it. Remember, I've been shut down on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. What else is it? Instagram, TikTok, Reddit. They don't allow me because the scammers keep reporting me. It's unreal. Check out the blog on the website. Go into the description. You'll find the links. And by all means, if you have been scammed, test it out. Get that email address that they provide you and tell them your story. I would love to see the correspondence that they give you back, and let's see if we can make a difference. See you in the next video, guys. Have a great day, evening, morning, wherever you are on the planet. Stay safe, and thanks for watching.